Welcome back, Lancers fam, to another Lancers Eternal Tournament. This is our third installment for this month. We are excited to see what lineups you're bringing for this weekend's final Eternal Tournament. With me today, I have Kai. Kai, how are you doing?
Evening. I'm doing well. I'm a little bit intimidated by the amount of Samir Seraphine decks that we've seen on the docket tonight, but otherwise I'm excited. I'm excited to see some of these skilled matchups as always, and ready to get right into our first match if we can.
Yeah, of course. Now, our first match is going to be samsans and WNG icelot. Now, for those of you who maybe missed the last tournament, as of right now, Megaporos has actually won it twice in a row. So we're going to see if Megaporos is going to hold up to that win streak or if someone else is going to take it. Now, Kai, what do you think about this matchup? Because I know a lot of players have been saying that this is the matchup that we can expect, which is Jax Ornn versus the Samira Seraphine, and that it seems even, seems kind of leaning towards Jax. I'm not really sure. I feel like people have different opinions on it.
I think the trouble with the matchup specifically is that Jax Ornn and Samira Seraphine are very reliant on finding specific combo pieces. If samsans is able to find the pieces that can stave off the Jax Ornn archetype, like this Mystic Shot getting the Ruthless Raider off the board with no response from icelot, then that's where the Samira Seraphine is allowed to pop off, especially if they have an Ezreal. Now, I know Ezreal's not nearly as favored because you'd rather draw the other two champions, but that's just like another iteration that we've been seeing here tonight. So it's kind of tough for me to say because the matchup really does come down to, can Jax Ornn make a big weapon and swing back with it, or is it more likely that Plaza Guardians is then able to remove these units, stun them off with Pirouette, sometimes even Guile is brought as a main deck thing, and then swing back with Plaza Guardians before Jax Ornn is allowed to recuperate. It's a very tough call.
Now, I have a question. I believe the only equipment destruction in these two regions, the regions being Noxus and Piltover, would be Hex Obliterator.
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Strike Spell in Noxus. I forget the name of it because I don't think we've ever seen it in play before.
It's a Brutal Skirmish, I believe, is the name.
Yes, there you go.
And I think the only time that I've ever played Brutal Skirmish was back when that card first came out. I played it in some whack Noxus Pantheon list.
Okay.
It was something I was doing a homebrew with. I was putting Might on Starhound packs, and I had that in there as well, just to try and counter out these new weapons and everything. But yeah, we really haven't seen all that much. And I think the reason why we haven't seen all that much is because Noxus, as much of as it is combat focused, it's a little bit better oriented towards burn and having really wide boards. And so Brutal Skirmish is like a single combat for the region specifically.
Yeah.
With the lack of defensive options in Noxus being available to them, it's not exactly a card that the region likes to run in conjunction with its units. It would rather not force the trade and just go for face, and that's why it has such an issue going up against all of these, or using that deck against all of these equipment based lists that we see here now. So it's really just better to try for another win con, really, if you're not playing Brutal Skirmish.
Yeah. Now, I think my issue with the Jax Ornn deck is that the variations that I've seen online, whether you're going to Runeterra AR or mastering Runeterra, I feel like it lacks interaction. Right, I feel like the only strike spell you really have, given that you have to run Jax and the other region is Freljord, you only have Fish Fight, which, mind you, is a 2-mana strike something, which is great. But the fact that it's slow speed means that if you're ever versus a deck that can, either focus speed or burst speed rally on you, like this deck in particular, it just ends up kind of becoming useless in your hand. And I think the bots itself, the Plaza Guardians, are just a little too big to be effective when you have combat tricks like Troll Chant, for instance, unless your units, of course, have been grown to the size that they need to be.
And let's also consider for a moment what samsans is threatening with this board, right? I mean, you can have the Confront that was generated off of Song Spinner get put onto Confront into Pale Cascade, can pull this Icathian Mirage. It's a real Jeopardy question kind of board tonight. To pull the Icathian Mirage out of the way in order to give it that health buff that it needs. So Bell's Breath is coming through. This is really good for this deck. A card that we don't see all that often, I think, in use. I've seen it used against aggro decks, right? But in this instance here, So Samsans is now able to pull the Acacia Mirage out of the way. They are now out of icelot is now out of mana to use that troll chant to keep it alive. But the important thing for icelot there, the reason why they pulled off that Orin's Forge or the Bellows Breath. Thank you.
Breath.
Yeah, the Bellows Breath there. Anyway, Samira gets a rally, so they win the game anyway. But the line of thinking there for icelot to not save the mana for the troll chain to try and keep their unit alive there was because they wanted to have the big weapon available. They knew that Samira's on really low mana, and so maybe there'll be the possibility that the priority would pass back to them and they would be able to get another unit out on board. But that was exactly an instance where the matchup of Jack Zorn hurting because of that lack of interaction, like you mentioned, and also hurting because they just can't find their combo pieces nearly as quickly as Samira Seraphine can sometimes stun and delay them out. So
yeah,
really a toss-up, I feel like a lot of the times. I think it's favored towards Samira Seraphine personally, just in the scrims that I've watched and played in, but I think that can go either way. And when we go into this next match here, we'll see how it goes.
I would agree. I feel like if you really wanted to fight the Plaza Guardian as Jack Zorn, you should start to run the Frostbite spells, whether it be Three Sisters or even you can go as far as running Harsh Winds if you wanted to run the equipment-based one. You could also do that. Because I mean, just being able, because remember, once those units are on board, if your opponent hasn't gotten the Seraphine combo off where they're using Blood for Blood or they're using Irritative Improvement to make other copies, you can deal with that if you have Frostbite, right? Your units are big enough, so if they end up getting challenged or you end up having the block, you can just boom, boom, Frostbite the two strongest, go in, kill them, and now Samira's Rally isn't as potent. Mind you, you know, what do you cut for that? Do you start cutting units? Do you start cutting other spells? It's a toss-up. I've also seen variations that are running the Buried in Ice. Mind you, that's tricky because you have to spend your entire turn burying those Plaza Guardians, and if it's a Samira on board, you know, the counter that we keep seeing is, okay, sure, you're getting rid of my Seraphine on board, you're getting rid of my Seraphine, I'm just gonna copy the Plaza Guardians before your big spell goes through, and now I'm fine, everything's a-okay. It's a deck that could really seems to have the ability to get itself out of tricky situations, especially with the Sputtering Song Spinner, right? We've seen so many instances in which that card itself has just created some really juicy cards out of that, whether it be Shyvana's Challenge or if it be something like Pale Cascades, just get that, you know, extra little bump in damage. Now, I'm curious, right? I feel like something that contributes to the deck's rally potential would be a leveled Samira, which we know we can get reliably. Would it be too much of a nerf to make Samira's level 2 spell cost 1 mana still, rather than be free?
That is, I think, well, right now, the thing about Samira on level 2, creating those free tokens in hand, is that whenever she strikes now, she also gets one. Previously, prior to her level, this is something that a lot of people probably don't even know, but prior to Samira's level, the text reads that if she doesn't have a flare in hand, she creates one, but if there is one that is in hand, it doesn't create a new one in hand. But on level 2, that requirement, that basis of requirement is removed. So she will create one every single time she strikes, regardless if there's one in hand or not. So I think that maybe removing that requirement first would be a good first step. To nerfing Seraphine or Samira a little bit, because it'll make it so that she can't keep generating those 0 mana burst speed tokens at level 2. Of course, like, her level 2's already been nerfed from what it was before, which is insane to think about, because right now Plaza Guardians is holding a 61% win rate at a 5% overall play rate, so it is the highest play rate deck in Eternal, and it is winning 61% of its matches. In fact, its worst matchup is Trundle Ornn Timelines, and that is a 40% matchup. If you're running a deck that says, oh man, my worst matchup is a 40-60, like, you're gonna see that everywhere, and we are seeing it everywhere here tonight. And we saw Samsans win it last round. But icelot's running back the Jax Ornn now against Victor Aphelios. I'm not sure about the matchup on this one because I haven't been seeing a lot of Victor Aphelios, but
yeah, I want to say that between this matchup, I feel like it goes to Jax Ornn because the Piltover target doesn't really have good ways to deal with units that have gotten incredibly large with the equipment, right? A silence, correct me if I'm wrong, but does silence hush the equipment? I don't believe it does. I believe those stats stay.
It hushes the unit. It does not hush the equipment attached to it. or the equipment if it goes back in a hand. So really, the only way that Samsans has a consistent and reliable way to deal with anything that icelot has on board is by pinging it down like they are now with that mountain goat to then get this grandmother down to 2 HP so that you can possibly find a mystic shot or something along those lines to kill it. Serpent is a pretty good find, but the attack token is down, so they're not going to be able to kill him right away. But we'll give him another blocker at 0 mana. Decide to cast,
a good Nightfall activator for Aphelios if we need it.
That too, yeah. Don't have to burn the mana for ignition.
I'm curious to see. Let's go check out Samsam's deck real quick, because I understand there's a few variations of this Aphelios deck. There are some that are running really heavy burn. There are some that are looking for a Glorious Evolution kind of ending. In this case, we are running Glorious Evolution, and we also have Mystic Shot and Get Excited at a 3 of.
Wow. Yeah, we do see one of those Get Exciteds in hand, so focus a little bit more on the mid-range, bullying into burn kind of playstyle. I mean, we see this with the Ballistic Bot, right? That's a free token for your, for your Ballistic Bot to then have for discard outlets and that sort of thing. Samson's really hoping that Icelot doesn't have a fish fight here. The pass probably indicating that they don't, but it'll be a matter of figuring out where that would go.
Yeah. Now, I feel like Ballistic Bot can really sneak up on you. I feel like, if anything, once we get the attack token back, we should try to aim to kill that unit. Because I know I've played games where I've kind of just been like, okay, I don't really have interaction for this right now. And it's just gotten out of control. It's suddenly a 10-3, and it's done at least like 6 points of burn to my face. I'm just like, oh, okay, this gotta go. Like, it looks like it's just a 1 damage ping, but then it does things, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm dying right now.
Death by 1,000 ballistic shots.
Basically, Chill Chant coming out, gonna save this unit. Ooh, a stun. Only 2 mana because we don't have Aphelios leveled up yet. Now, I wonder if we end up going for the Ballistic Bot or we end up going for Aphelios. I don't think we're really gonna have that option just yet. So I know that Serpent's probably gonna go for the 6-1.
And using Gravitum to stun the combat cook means that it can't attack either, or block this round, and it can't attack next round either. So if you use the Serpent here to remove the favored artisan off of the board now, that is even less threats available to your Aphelios, and I believe that's 1 weapon away from leveling now, which you'll get off of this ignition, which is absolutely massive. Crescendum being the last one in hand, because of course you need to be able to deal with the width that Jaxorn can put down on you.
Yeah.
Even though you are kind of on this burn game plan in a manner of speaking, you do still have to be able to try and play to your outs. Like, you can't ignore the fact that your opponent has a board as wide as they do. Granted, it kind of is a 4-unit board right now, but with the way that Samsans is able to, I guess, supplement his board right now, using this Crescendum, it just feels even stronger now. And then you can cycle back into the Calibrum and remove a unit again. So that's the power of Aphelios here. Level up. These moon weapons are going to cost 1, and they get the Calibrum this round. This is a massive advantage for Samsans to be swinging here.
Love it. Oh, look at that unit. Mind you, we're probably not going to be able to steal any spells, but it's always nice to have that unit. I've always tried to build like a deck making it elusive in my early days. Now, I feel like we have to point something out, right? On icelot's board, we have 2 innovative blacksmith. Every time you forge, that is a heal, right? So these pings that are coming from the Ballistic Bot are kind of meaningless right now, and we see right here that the Serpent is being sent out after one of the innovative blacksmiths, and I think that's correct, right? You need to start stopping this healing. You can go ahead and deal with the 6-1 later. You saw that your opponent discarded the challenge earlier, so they can end up drawing deeper into that, most likely looking for Ornn. So at this point in the game, we definitely want to get Ornn out on the field.
That we do. And Icelot is also running into the other issue that I have with playing Jaxorn. Now, of course, very strong deck. It's been doing crazy good numbers, and when it pops off, it feels very unstoppable. But you can sometimes find yourself in these specific situations where you don't have Overwhelm able to swing on the board, so that Battle Fury is sitting dead in your hand, and then you also don't have the ability to draw a ton of cards. You are very limited to what's in your hand right now. In fact, if Icelot swings and tries to push damage with Battle Fury, that's going to be all of their mana this turn. And even though they do have the Fischl Whack in hand, the follow-up problem is that Samsans is also sitting on a Calibrum. So you can put an Overwhelm on something, but then you don't have the mana to put the Battle Fury forward, and then the Calibrum removes the unit anyway. So Jax is dropped instead. He is leveled, which does mean that on this attack, he will get +3/+3, because he does include himself in that. But removing the Favored Artisan does force the issue a little bit more.
Oh, and get excited onto the Jax.
Wow.
Just saying, go ahead. I don't really need this burn. I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of your board. Once it's gone, it's gone. Just as you mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of draw. So what you're looking at is pretty much what you're gonna have to deal with. Mind you, the equipment can still be scary, but the larger of the equipment out of the equipment that's in this hand is not the Overwhelm one. That one is only at a 3/1 right now.
3/1, probably only reforged once either from the Weaponsmith Apprentice or a Combat Cook early on. Fearsome is kind of intimidating. You can't really block with the cat, but again, here's another Gravitum coming through because this Aphelios is just slinging moon weapons at the moment. And I do like removing the Jax, right? Because now we know that icelot has only one card left in hand. We have completely burned them out of value and just going to keep applying this pressure with this Ballistic Bot. As soon as we're able to find a victor here as well, I think this is going to be just a game set match for Samsans, and they have an ability to find it with that Augmented Clockwing in hand. icelot, on the other hand, their game plan, pray for a good top deck. And
a draw. We could draw potentially into Ornn. I mean, we do have blockers to deal with this, because I feel like something that Aphelios doesn't have, if you're not running Winding Light, you suddenly don't have the finishing power that Overwhelm brings you. So you do have to rely on other things, such as burn or going wide, swinging wider on your opponent. That's such a good card, being able to draw and summon a unit. Ooh, elusive.
Fishwight coming down.
Okay. Going on to the Busted Bot. Aphelios? Yep, Aphelios. Understanding that the Aphelios is going to provide a lot of value when we're bringing in those moon weapons. Dumping all the burn onto this unit.
Keeping this Aphelios alive, but it's not going to keep it alive, or it is going to be kept alive through the top deck of this Troll Chant. So really big punish here from icelot. And the reason why they've also selected the Combat Cook to use the fish fight on specifically and not the Innovative Blacksmith is because if Combat Cook somehow gets removed there, let's say there's no Troll Chant in the hand, then Samsans is removing a unit that is already stunned. But we do find the crystal that is threatening so much of icelot's board right now, especially since we know that we're already down 2 Troll Chants in this match.
Are we gonna have enough mana to overwhelm Tryndamere spell? Battle Fury? I think we can, but that would be everything. All of our mana is just gone. We're basically at the mercy of Samsans. This is tough. And we got the heal?
If the Overwhelm is played, it has to be played on the Acathian Mirage. And that's because if it's played on the Combat Cook, well, it could be played on the Blacksmith or Weaponsmith Apprentice. But the Weaponsmith Apprentice has 2 less points of attack, and the other Combat Cook at the moment has 1 HP. That Overwhelm hit is a 3/1. It's only going to buff by 1 HP. So that means that this Hexite Crystal comes down and wipes the board. However, there's also Hexite Crystal into Calibrum that is threatening 5 damage to a unit. So Heartflow Mender is played first to heal a unit, reforge its weapon. We're not going to be going for the Overwhelm into Battle Fury lethal yet. That does pose a lot of problems for icelot.
Zoe.
What do we take? What do we take?
Oh, we skipped and got a Victor!
Wow.
There we go, Victor level up. Okay. Oh, this is gonna reduce everything by 1. Well, at least everything that's created. We have...
And for Samson's hand, that is everything. It's time for one card.
Yeah, it is. Except the Celestial Star Shaping, but the moment we use that, it's a wrap. That's also gonna be discounted. I feel like if anything, if we start shaping, we're probably gonna be looking for either the elusive units, or we're going to be looking for the one that gives 2/2 and overwhelm to everything.
Yeah, you're looking for the Scourge, the Great
Yeah, the Scourge.
Beyond, or the Immortal Fire. There we go.
What keyword? What keyword?
Augment.
No,
Faded.
Faded. There we go. The other augment, Loki. All right.
The Augment, but if you want to play Targon.
Oh man, I mean, this is a really beefy board, right? Now everything has a 4 or 6 HP. We don't really care about the 2-1 and the 1-2. Those are gonna end up being chump blockers for this ballistic bot and the Victor.
We still have the option of aiming removal at things here, though, for 2 mana. You can stack the Calirum and the Crystal at this board, and considering that the last card is, again, still this Battle Fury, it's not threatening anything right now, right? It's just kind of there. Consider removing the unit with quick attack, but decides to go for the Fearsome instead, and we do get Gravitum off of it. I think this is kind of testing Icelot's hand, seeing how that last 2 mana is being held for a Troll Chant remaining a hand. Could be the third one.
Or just full swing.
Just full swing it. Sacks the Victor, too.
Really? I see it. I
Saves the
understand.
most HP.
You want to make sure that you're trading the units off. Would an Orin top deck do it for us? I feel like it may.
An Orin top deck would take an extra turn, but it would indeed do it. I don't know if Icelot has struck for 8+ damage yet, though. I think that's still... We're still waiting on the Orin level up. Yeah, we're still waiting on the Orin level up.
We are. Oh, man.
So, even with an Orin drop, you have to give him the Overwhelm weapon for him to be effective. And we have healing in this hand. Again, if you play Orin into the Overwhelm weapon,
hey, look,
well, okay.
Speaking of double. Ooh, Silence, Equinox. Probably not Silence. Yeah, definitely.
What you're watching is a pre-recorded VOD that we're actually just commenting over. We already know the whole script. Oh, I wonder if they're gonna top deck an Orin here. Wow, crazy. No, I'm kidding. Of course, this is live and our reactions to it, but man, Caster's Curse sure does not make it seem like it half the time.
It really does it. Half the time it does it. Shoot. All right, here he goes. Do we take the Fearsome or the mana?
We take the Overwhelm.
Okay, it's like the Overwhelm. Okay.
Yeah. The only way he's going to be dealing the damage, but Crescent Strike is going to make this a very difficult situation to work with. But Star Shaping looking for
Scourge.
Potentially. Ooh, Scourge is good.
Now, what would you take? The Scourge or... Oh, he took the Great Beyond. Okay, I like taking the Great Beyond because although you can take the Scourge, you might need this Ballistic Bot to swing. And if it's going to be swinging, I would believe that the Orin is going to end up having to block here.
Correct.
So we already know that, okay, we're not going to really get the Overwhelm benefit from using the Ballistic Bot with the Scourge. But the Dragon will give us a Spell Shield and Elusive unit. And we already have 2 other Elusive units on board.
And we do. One of them's playing in Flash Bombs too, so that's something, I guess.
All right, now Orin is double, so another top deck Orin would be kind of crazy.
And it would be.
Hold our breath. Hold our breath.
If they find it.
Ruthless
Raider. Ah!
Not too bad. Not too bad. Because look at this. We have Overwhelm. There we go. Battle Fury.
Pushing
It's going all in right now.
That should
Is
be
that
it, actually.
Oh, it's right there.
Wow.
2 HP. I'm gonna go to a game 3.
Crazy. I mean, hey, the Battle Fury and the Overwhelm, that is the combo. Sometimes that is the problem that Orin Jax runs into, is that you're not really pushing much more damage than what you have in terms of units on board. And so having that alternate finisher option to then take us to a game 3 is exactly what you're looking for. I think Orin with the block to then, because you saw that Icelot cycled off the Overwhelm weapon on the Orin there. So then make sure you could get the Overwhelm weapon onto the innovative blacksmith to make sure that you had lethal 2 different ways, which is a tremendous foresight on their part. And I'm really proud of how they played that one out, despite samsans getting so much value in the early game, but just not really being able to finish the game out.
It just goes to show that a lot of games aren't over until they're over, and you never know how a game is going to swing, right?
Yeah.
Trust in yourself. Make sure you're just paying attention to what's on field, and you can do it. All right, we're going to get the Timelines deck versus Samsans, Victor, Aphelios, Zoe. And the question is, when will icelot draw timelines? That is the big question.
Is it right now? No, it's not.
Risu's here. I'm getting some of the combos.
I feel that Bandle City Piltovers on timelines, without timelines, feels like a really bad Swarm deck.
Yeah,
It's just,
I've heard
a
it's
deck that wants to,
spicy.
it's pretty bad.
It's just like, what do you do?
It's just a deck that is trying to be Teemo Tristana Shadow Isles, if you remember that deck,
Yes.
but without the added impact, pun not intended, of being that deck specifically. It
Ooh,
just
timelines.
but there is timelines on turn 4, so a little bit
Okay.
late here. But because of the slow time that Samsans is going to be taking to develop here, it might as well be on the same turn anyway. Like it might as well have been on turn 2 to begin with, because now we're starting to cook a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say, oh, sorry.
No, because I was
You
gonna say,
go
I wonder if we're gonna end up playing the Aphelios this turn, because I know we played the 1 mana unit because we want to like bait out anything, but we still have enough mana for Banana Blaster. Okay, we're going with
Not
Choppers.
anymore though. There's a really good attack pass from Samsans, trying to scout out the possibility of the Banana Blaster here. Goes into the Belvethi Elder as well, which is some decent stats.
I like that. I like that.
It's a little bit annoying to deal with. And I would like to say, going off of your point earlier of how like games aren't over until they're over, a lot of the commentary that I say does sound like I'm saying that the game is over. But I'm just saying like, oh, this is really strong for the player. This is what something that could lead to a win. But
Oh, look at the unit!
whoa, Sacrificial Scholar is found?
Oh,
This
that's
is
so
padded.
good!
Wow.
I'm gonna put
Wow.
double Pale Cascade on it. I wouldn't be surprised if we put double Pale Cascade.
It would definitely be an option. What if you Pale Cascaded and then Calibrumed it? Because it would live, you would get the Calibrum back.
True.
Right? Or can you only do an enemy follower though? I've never
Hold on.
I haven't played Aphelios very much.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
It says deal 3
just
to a follower.
Just a follower.
Perfect.
All right.
That'd be the
Banana
funny way
Blast.
to deal it.
And truthfully, the banana is blasting. Aphelios is going down, which we expected. Go and see what we can draw. Ooh, Hex Obliterator, Shock Blast. Those were actually all good. What did we go with? Shock Blast. Okay.
I think that's because you want to try. Oh, we're hovering over the Belvethi Elder. We can't see the board. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you. I think the reason why we go for Shock Blast there is because we know that one of icelot's strongest combos, which is probably going to be coming out on their next attack turn, will be that Risu. And Risu, the Storm Cloud that they summon is 3 HP. And typically, you don't see a lot of defensive options in either Piltover Zon and Bandle City outside of Stress Defense. But that's like a card that you ran in Vagar Darkness way back in the day, just to keep it from damage removal.
Another one that is like really obscure, Friendship. Give something very.
Oh yeah.
It's I haven't seen that card in a hot minute. I used to play it in the Nora Vagar deck, so I was like, oh, let me just give it Spell Shield. Then I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna use Best Call. Let them kill it. I'll just resummon it. It's fine. All right, here we go. What are we getting? What are we getting? Ooh,
So Spirit of Wuju, Retired Reckoner, and Vikarum Bruiser are the options. The last one is selected.
I like that. It's always good to try to get units that have other effects. So in this case, we're going to start getting the lucky finds. Should give us some keywords.
It is, as they say, the forbidden word, a good tempo. And you bring up the word tempo, everyone just starts screaming.
Tempo!
No, you don't know what tempo is.
All right, second receiver. Oh, look! Aspect of Justice? Okay, we can't. Wait, no, can we? It gets summoned as a 1/1. No, I don't think we can. I would really love to. We ended up doing it. Okay, I respect it. We're gonna let that rock. We have Mystic Shot. We have actually 2 Mystic Shots, so there's no way we're letting the Aspect stay. She's definitely going. She's going.
No.
She gotta go.
Kale's mother will not be sticking around very long.
Okay. Gonna get that trade and get those cards out. Yep. There goes the Mystic Shout. Very good. Good try. Good try. I definitely would have waited for it. You know if that unit sticks on the board, it's gonna be a problem for Samson's deck to deal with.
It is buffing everything in hand, including that Banana Blaster sitting there. Will make it so that whenever the Banana Blaster transforms into a unit later on, it then also has those buff stats from Mahira on top of it. And Mahira having the threat of, hey, in 4 turns, if you don't deal with me, I am also now a massive, overwhelm, lifesteal, elusive unit that you now have to deal with that has also been buffing hand this entire time. It's just it's not something you want to deal with, and especially
At all.
in Vandal City,
In any way,
it has
shape,
a lot
or
of
form.
swarm. Oh, never. It'd be insane to do so. A couple of interesting options here. I would go with Ballistic Bot. But Fallen Felines picked instead.
Okay, you want to maybe try to get some things off. Make sure you always have the damage. You get a higher chance of getting the Hexite Crystal. Our hand is looking a little bit full, and we get to heal this unit. icelot's hand is definitely going down. Now, mind you, I don't believe we have too much draw in this deck. Aside from what, maybe Pokestick? I'm about to go check it out real quick. We have Pokestick, Time Trick. Okay, we're also running Parts Made Whole, so we have a bit of draw. Augmented Experimenter, but we've already gone through 2 Risus, right? And Samsans has had the ability to remove them along with the unit it summons. I feel like once you kill it, like, is there really anything else that the deck can do? I mean, now you're kind of just relying on whatever units you get.
I don't know if you saw what Samsans also just did this round. It was very funny. But so Icelot throws out the Pie Toss to try and ping Samsans's try to ping the what's it called? Augmented Clockling down, right? And Sans is like, okay, cool, I'll use a gem to heal it. So he uses gem to heal it, attacks. Icelot throws a Mystic Shot. Samsans uses a Pale Cascade. Then Icelot throws another piece of removal, the Pokestick. Samsans top decks another Pale Cascade to save the Augmented Clockling and clock in for 5 damage. It was just a matter of playing like slapjack. You know, just trying to see who gets the first action on the card, like wham, 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 back and forth. Icelot trades 5 damage back as well. But like you said, the draw options, the lack of draw options specifically for Icelot, despite having all of this available to them as a timelines deck, is possibly starting to hurt them. I mean, we were saying this about Jack Zorn, so I can't say that the match is over yet. But when you look at the size of Samsans' hand versus what Icelot has in hand, which is a Get Excited that can be used on the other timelines for 3 damage to face, it's not doing nearly as much, especially because Samsans has that added security in the form of Star Shaping. I don't feel like Samsans is in danger at the moment. Icelot right now is out of options, and that is a scary place to be in.
Oh, another Hexite Crystal. That's a board wipe.
Almost. Yeah,
almost a board wipe. We still gotta knock out that Spell Shield. We have Ballistic Bot. We're about to get 2 cards. So now we're just ramping, hoping for a good keyword. Ooh, immediately going for the Get Excited onto the unit. I like it. You want to only deal with the Victor. If Victor doesn't get a good keyword, he's pretty much just sitting there on the back line.
We do have a way to remove that Spell Shield now. Actually, a couple of different ways.
Oh, the last Risu.
Last Risu. This could have been the top deck to save it all for Icelot here.
Not beat it again.
Oh, no. Well, actually, no, it won't be because of the double Hexite Crystal. And you can see on Samsans' hand, right? On Samsans' hand, only one of those Hexite Crystals has the eyes on it. The other one was accidentally drawn into.
It was drawn.
Meaning the Icelot has no idea that there are actually 2 of them coming down here. This entire board is getting knocked down, brother.
Oh my god, forget the spell shield. We have plenty of spells. With the swiftness. With the absolute swiftness. Be like, you know what? No more cards. I ain't gotta worry about nothing. Everything is dead. Call me Ruination.
Ruination at the cost of 4 cards, but only what, 4 mana, 5 mana? I can count. Hold on, 6 mana. There we go.
Wow.
Because the leveled victor makes it. Yeah, no, that's
GG.
A surrender
GG.
after that.
Oh
Because
my gosh,
after the double mystic shot, like, how do you recover from that? The other one being accidentally drawn into and not being given to icelot as intel was a key moment in that. Icelot thought, okay, I can live through one Hexite crystal there.
Yeah.
I have the health for it. This thing's gonna punch in. But then samsans reaches into their back pocket and says, but you didn't expect a second Hexite crystal.
One.
And
Oh
just
man.
board wipes them. Incredible.
Oh, what a board wipe. That was a really good set. I mean, it shows the power of, you know, the Jax Orin that it really shows the power of Victor Aphelios. Mind you, Bandos City, we saw the units were coming out, right? We did get timelines in time for Risu. We saw some big units arriving, whether that they had spell shield or they, you know, just simply had a high amount of power. But we had the removal, and that's really all we need. And I see why individuals are playing the cat that gives you the Hexite Crystal, because I mean, it's like, hey, I have Predict in my deck. I can just, you know, draw into it. That's 2 damage across the board. I have all these other pings, whether it be Mystic Shot or Get Excited to deal with one of these units. 3 HP in Piltover isn't necessarily too difficult to deal with. You have the options, and if you really are worried about 3 HP, like, okay, I'm gonna run Aftershock, and you know, good to go. Now I have some kind of removal for it. But we just see, like, you know, Bandos City timelines, don't get me wrong, can definitely get some really good units out of it, right? But like, once you deal with that, there's no alternative win con. It is a board-based win con. They're trying to get the units on field. You deal with those units, you're good to go. It's like, okay, there's not really a lot of spells you're going to be running if you're using. Now, mind you, I know there are some that have been running a lot of burn, and we've even seen it in the in some of the opens where it's just a whole bunch of burn. In this version, we do have the 3 Get Excited and the 3 Mystic Shot. But at some point, if your opponent has the board, it's like, I kind of got to deal with this. Like, and I don't have the units. Now you're forced to use that burn the units. Now suddenly all that, you know, 2, 4, 6, almost plus 10 damage of burn is like, okay, gone. It's like, I don't have my burn finish anymore now. Now I really need to go the unit route. And at some point, if you don't really have the draw necessary, you know, because mind you, we can, you know, cycle our hand with the Predict card, but there's not a lot of draw twos. It's, at least in that deck in particular that we're running, all we have really is the what's it called, the one that is you discarded equipment and you can summon a unit.
Parts made whole.
Yeah, parts made whole. That's the only one that's like gonna really try to refill our hand. Well, GG to both players. Regardless, you know, we should give Bandos City some timeline, some respect, because it was being played for a really long time until those got nerfed. And I think the nerf did do something to it. It's right, having to play it later is like, okay, I don't really get to put that kind of pressure that I would want to early on, because you know what happens when you play the improvised units with that. It's like, oh wow, not only are you able to choose potentially a better standard unit, but now it gets equipment on it, right? And I think that's why we see some players, instead of running the Bandos City ones, they're running the Orin timelines. Not Orin, yeah, the Orin timelines with, I believe, Trundle. I think it's Trundle Orin. I've been seeing that variant go around, which I think arguably might be the better one.
I think it definitely. That's because the idea of timelines with Trundle Orin, of course, is to get that Ice Pillar out and have the free mana to then flip it into basically a free 8 mana unit with a lot of stats. That's the whole idea of the deck, right? But when you're playing inside of Freljord, one of the things that Freljord is really good at is buffing stats. And so when you have things like the Combat Cook, which is a Freljord Demacia card, dual region, that is a 4 mana card that is a 2/2 that then forges the weapon and then flips to become a better 4 mana unit. But we're seeing easy to win against Megaparos is a very high level, easy to win, made top 4 of the last Runeterra Open. They are a very, very strong player. Playing against Megaparos, who's on Annie Jin, and it doesn't look like on turn 3 they're already down.
Wow, 10 HP.
10 HP.
Oh my gosh. Like we got healing though
right now.
Oh, here we go.
Healing.
Battle's Breath gonna go ahead and wipe the board out of 2 units that are gonna ping. I know this has been a nightmare. This specific card has been a nightmare for aggro players, at least in the Jax Orin deck.
That it has been, yeah. And the nice thing about that double forge is that getting this tough unit, the Ruthless Raider, up to 3 HP means that this Crimson Pigeon can no longer trade into it freely. And by dropping the Djinn, we no longer have that Sigil of Malice available also to remove the unit in case we wanted to do that in conjunction with walking with the Crimson Pigeon. But instead, we'll just take the 5 to face, knowing that we have the Donnie in hand, knowing that we have that Sigil of Malice and a Pirouette.
Pirouette's
the
really
attack
good.
advantage is fantastic for Mega Paros. They're gonna have Easy to Win's gonna have to find some answers. It's not death yet. There's a Hearthblood Mender available.
Oh, it's definitely looking scary. Oh my gosh.
2 mana to use this Pirouette. We'll probably stun out the Ruthless Raider here. You didn't use any spells last round, so you'll have to use the Djinn to attack to get another stun. But it does give Easy to Win a block. They'll be able to prevent 4 damage this turn, but Mega Paros doesn't lose any units either because hopefully Hearthblood Mender is going to get stunned. Yeah.
Oh, and Djinn is safe.
Yep.
Look at that 8 damage. Sigil of Malice is going to deal 2. So we're just looking for the rest of our burn finish, whether it be Decimate or Noxian Forever.
Yep. That's basically it.
Oh my gosh, there's Annie Djinn.
Welcome to playing Annie Djinn in 2023. How may I take your order? Like, this is exactly what the deck likes to do. And if we hadn't found that Hearthblood Mender for Easy to Win as well, Easy to Win would be on 1 HP. Any sort of spells that could have synergized the Djinn or any spell that can be procced off of Donnie here would have been lethal. In fact, throwing the Sigil of Malice at face this exact moment brings Easy to Win down to 1 HP. They have to remove the Djinn, otherwise they lose. But if they don't remove the Donnie in the same stroke, they could also just lose on Mega Paros' next open because of that Legion Saboteur in hand.
Wow.
So it's looking pretty over no matter what way you cut it right now. And yeah, Donnie is going to be lethal next turn. Don't mind if you lose the Djinn.
Here's the thing, right? We play the Legion Saboteur. We still have enough mana for fish fight, so we can fish fight the Legion Saboteur. So we don't have to worry about a ping from Donnie just yet. However, if Mega Paros ends up drawing into A, another unit that can activate a skill, or B, any burn, doesn't matter which one, any of them, dead on the spot. Without, don't even need. We don't need the spell to resolve because Danny's just gonna shoot the Nexus. Oh, this is scary. This is scary. What is it? Oh, it's Decimate. Oh, it's Decimate. Oh, the top deck, the bird. Mega Paros has won the last 2 Lances Eternal tournaments, and it has been with aggro.
Yeah. I mean, that even goes to show with the last, I mean, congratulations to Mega Paros really pulling off the win there and keeping the exact unit or getting the exact units that they needed to win there. Knowing the way that the Djinn worked on that last attack to make sure that it was able to stay alive and stave off damage and make it so that Easy to Win had to choose between, okay, do I want to kill this 1 damage ping or this 1 damage ping or that 1 damage ping that's going to be killing me next turn? Any other sequence of cards wouldn't have been good for Mega Paros, but that also goes to show the understanding of the player to play the aggro deck and then the power of the aggro deck itself. Aggro went all the way to the finals with the Cup is Mine.
True.
Of the Open. And there was I was watching the final stream with some other people, and there was one round, Cup is Mine lost a game because they're playing around a 1 of Nopify. And their opponent didn't have it. And Taigai won it off of that. So there are some instances where aggro can go the distance. It is still very, very strong. And I'm wondering how people are going to be able to handle it, especially now that Samira Seraphine is the deck to beat. And what does it lose to? Oh, it loses to, get this, Teemo Elite aggro.
What? You said Teemo Elite? I thought you said Teemo Elite. So I was like, hold up.
No. Elite.
What are people doing?
With an S in there.
Okay. I feel like that makes sense. I'm assuming that it's running Fearsomes, correct?
No, it is
general
just,
aggro.
It is just, I'm going to burn your face and you're not allowed to interact. That is the entire idea of the deck. Because you play Teemo on 1, you then have Elise on 2, which just gets you more aggro to face, a fearsome attacker with Spiderling. Then you play Used Cask Salesman, which gets you those 2 used casks to deal damage to face. and you're also running the whole like Doom Beast package, Fading Memories, Doom
Oh,
Beast.
so you're
Unto
really
Dust.
just going for the burn. You're just
Yes. Oh, it's outright burn.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is probably one of the decks we're going to see again this weekend, most likely. And
yeah,
easy to
without
win.
a doubt.
Has to burn. The interaction on that Arachnid Horde to prevent 3 damage to face after that stun came through on the Pirouette. But already, again, being on turn 4 and down 7 HP is a scary sentence, and there's no equipment in Easy to Win's hand either. So the scaling of their deck has been, I guess, dampened is the best way for me to put it.
What do you go for here? Because I know right now Mega Price has either House Spider, Astral Fox, Doom Beast, or Frenzy Skitterer. I'm inclined to go with Doom Beast. I like the fact that we're including Astral Fox because that's essentially, you know, kill a unit and deal 3.
That it is. It's a tough decision. I think you go for Doom Beast because that is just guaranteed damage to face. It also keeps your Nexus healthy.
Yeah, I would say definitely Doom Beast. It's a tough choice because the House Spider would also provide you with the needed blockers if you really need it, or just like a go wide strategy. Because we only have the 3-1 and the 1-2 on board. We're like, okay, sure, some bigger units can come out. We haven't seen any equipment just yet, so it might just be better to go wide. And we do end up choosing the House Spider.
House Spider chosen as the option. Second House Spider still in hand, so you can then have another 3 damage width on board.
Oh, look at that!
Whoa!
Look at it! Oh, it's gonna hurt. We're
no!
It's Bellow's breath.
Mega Peros, look out! There's a ram coming down the highway. Oh god! Oh no! He has AirPods in. That's what's happening in this moment. Like, wow!
Look at this board wipe. This is the card we needed.
We do use Fervor here for 3 damage to face,
I
so at
would
least
say
we're
yeah.
not losing entirely. But wow, that is quite the return swing. 7 damage to face actually on this return attack. There's no mana for Mega Frost to develop into now that they use the rest of it on Fervor, and our health is equal.
Yeah, our health is. Now we have 2 decimates. We have blockers. If we play a blocker now, we won't be able to decimate. We'll take 12 damage if we don't go with a blocker. Okay. We have options. Legion Saboteur, Precious Pet, Arachnoid. I feel like Legion Saboteur to get the pings off.
Yeah.
Do we play it as a blocker though? Okay, we do play one as a blocker.
Stygian Onlooker in this matchup is not that great the later the game goes on, because you're always going to be running into stats that are able to block Fearsomes. So I agree with the playing of the Stygian Onlooker here, because it's you know one mana, save yourself 7 HP. Make sure you're not the one getting aggro down. Legion Saboteur is played in return to try and push for that little bit of extra damage. In fact, this is presenting 8 and 10 damage right now, which is pretty significant.
One's coming down. We still have access to fish fight.
But
there's no equipment. Oh wait, we haven't had an equipment. We're still waiting for weapons.
Has to play the unit, I think, entirely for the... Well, I guess she had Ruthless Raider as well. The fish fight here.
I like it. I like it.
Onto what though? The ephemeral.
The ephemeral? I would kill the one that's not ephemeral. I agree with that because you already know the other one's gonna die. You don't have to deal with it.
Oh, that's great that they were given the option to have an action there. Easy to win on. I think a better board overall than Mega Peros. He can block the Arachnid Horror with the Hearth Bloodmender and not lose the unit there. You can block the Legion Saboteur with Ornn and not lose the unit there. And if this bird, Stygian Onlooker, comes down, and it does, you have another blocker in the form of the Favored Artisan. Now, of course, that's not exactly favorable, but it does make it so that you're not taking 4 damage to face and then also just wiping Mega Peros's board entirely. In fact, Mega Peros doesn't even swing at the other 2 units because they know that they aren't allowed to play that. They aren't allowed to play that slow. they have to, or that fast. They have to try and stave off what Easy to Win has on board. A Pirouette is burn to make sure that Ornn doesn't get the attack.
I like this because even without the equipment, Ornn will still forge himself. So that unit is going to grow in size, and at some point it's going to be... I mean, it's already hard to deal with now with what we have, but it will eventually become impossible. Still a big board. We're definitely going to probably trade off some units. Here we go. We have 8. So what? We just need 3?
Just need 3.
Just need 3.
3 would be Fervor, but Fervor would require units, and Megaparos getting a Fervor off the top would mean that they wouldn't be able to find a unit to then use that Fervor on. So it has to be a unit into a Fervor in order to guarantee themselves lethal, or potentially the 3rd Decimate. But all we matter of what's on deck here.
What is it? What is it? It's a unit that needs a unit!
It's a unit! It's something, right? It staves off defeat for a little bit. You have to play... Oh.
The heal. We finally get a weapon.
Man, that drip healing. That is perfect. Easy to Win is actually, if Megaparos plays the... I forget its name.
The
Legion something rather.
Imperial
Demolitionist. There we go. Thank you. The Imperial Demolitionist. So if this is played and then they play a Fervor on top of it, there's really not a whole lot else going for them there.
There it goes.
Because Innovative Blacksmith takes them 1 HP above the threshold.
Game flipping 3. It's
unbelievable.
Tough. I feel like when it comes to aggro, if you're able to deal with that initial board, right? Anytime I play control or a deck that like has those kinds of board wides, whether it be Avalanche or the like something like Ram Stance or the Forge, you get rid of that initial board, you're good. If you're able to stave off that first one, okay, now eventually they ran through their hand, they try to kill me as fast as possible, I've stabilized. Now I just gotta stay alive. I feel like when it comes, what would be the best aggro deck? What is the fastest aggro? My argument, I feel like it's Anti-Jin. And I feel like it's Anti-Jin because they don't need their units to connect. They just simply go over you. But I'm not sure if that's the fastest though.
I honestly think the fastest is still Pirates.
Pirate
aggro. Because once you hit Misfortune on 3, man, that is so much extra damage going on the board. That's so much extra damage going to face that you have to block. A lot of units that are a lot cheaper in that regard that can then scale into the same finishers that all these other aggro decks have. You compare this to Anti-Jin, which has some very specific pieces it needs to set up for the burn. Like we saw in that first match that Megaparos needed Jin, they needed the Donnie, they needed to find those exact skills to try and finish their opponent off at the end there for Easy to Win. And if you find those pieces, great. That is exactly how the deck is supposed to operate. But if you don't find it, it keeps delaying itself out until you can find a burn finish. And sometimes you run to decks that don't give you that kind of space to work with. So Anti-Jin's a little bit slower. And then I think on a slightly slower side, but in a different sense, is Poppy Ziggs with Noxus.
Yes.
That one just deals damage and has a lot of stats, but the problem is that the weakness that it has is with the strength that Anti-Jin has and the Pirates has, is that the overhead isn't there quite as much. You have Impact, sure. You have Ziggs, sure. But beyond that, you don't have the consistent skill of Misfortune. You don't have Twisted Fate hitting your whole board with the red card. You don't have the skills from the units going forward as well. You're just trying to swarm and to finish the game as quickly as possible. So a lot of different ways around it. And I think for that reason that Pirates is the fastest aggro deck in the game right now.
Yeah, now that you're talking about it, it makes sense, and I would agree with you. Because I feel like what really makes it Pirates is the Misfortune, because not only are you not forced to block, you're forced to block, and you're most likely going to lose units. And if you only have 1 HP units, you're suddenly blocking without getting any trades in whatsoever, right? Misfortune is going to be able to delay Dragonlings, right? Sure, hey, you're playing against Rise. Hey, you're playing against Karma. They have Dragonling on board. Oh, hey, I got Misfortune. Good luck blocking. Machine gun. That's it. It's a wrap. And then especially if you're able to get, whether you have TF on 4 or even later down the line, because I know TF is a really powerful tool. 3 options. You're either drawing, stunning, or dealing one to everything. It's a nice kind of like little control card that you have in Pirates, which is I feel like some might not even really look at it as a control card. I feel like TF is definitely on that kind of frame of work when it comes to him, and it's good. And mind you still have draw, right? You leave TF on board and don't deal with him, it's gonna become a problem. I know I've had some games where I decided to experiment with Rise just because I was like, why are people playing it? What's the deal with this deck? I played against a pirate aggro player. I had 2 Dragonlings on board. They could not swing into because they didn't have Misfortune. And I was like, why aren't they swinging? I guess we're just sitting here because I had no pieces. I had no shards and I had no Rise. We're just sitting there passing back and forth because I keep making Dragon Leagues. And then eventually, finally, they get Misfortune, but I had Aftershock, so I was like, okay, bye, Misfortune.
Yeah.
You came to give a little sneak peek and left.
I remember there was like some old stat that we had that I heard before. So this is like, oh, I remember hearing this, this like sources, just trust me, bro, is kind of what this is like. It's just like it's kind of building up to. But I remember hearing an old stat back in the day where the win rate of Misfortune Pirates, maybe it was MF Quinn Scouts, but it was a Misfortune deck regardless. The win rate of that deck went up once by 10%, some insane metric when you found Misfortune in the deck on 3.
Yes.
And that is because it is the key piece for these decks specifically. But I think that is also something that you can say about any of the aggro decks. It's like, yeah, their champions are very key pieces. Jin is a very key piece in the Annie-Jin deck. Misfortune is a key piece in any sort of Misfortune deck that you have. Poppy is a key piece in the Poppy Ziggs deck because you want to have the board stats to try and just get that swarm knocking you down into places where you can't trade. You then have all these units hitting you for a ton of damage on turn 4. And it's honestly quite miserable to play against.
I feel like aggro is like that to begin with. It's just, damn, I'm sitting here, I got a plan. You're over here trying to play a 10-minute game. I'm like, damn, I gotta deal with this crap. What do I got? Where's my removal? Where are my blockers? The way that I will hard mulligan for some either a board wipe or my early 1-drop followers. The moment I see, because I play a lot of like Iodia or like Eye of the Dragon or like Control. If the moment I see Eye of the Dragon in my hand, I'm good. All right, that's it. I have the thing I need to at least live for a little bit. I need to live. But I feel like, as much as Control is like, damn, I don't want to play against it. I feel like it isn't necessarily, it's something you have to like think about, right? And I feel like it does offer that kind of good stress, so to speak. It's like this like hype. It's like, okay, their ending is fast. I'm just trying to survive. I like it. It's nice it's a nice little matchup to kind of have. And then everyone knows how satisfying it is to hear the death animation of like 6 units when you finally get that nice juicy board wipe.
Yeah. I know for myself that I like to play a lot of combo centric decks as well. These ones that kind of like to pretend they're mid-rangey, but then have these burn combo finishers and all of that. There is that kind of playstyle that I play into, and so being able to remove units but then also punch into aggro is one of my favorite things to ever do. I like in my open last week, I beat an aggro deck. I beat pirate aggro with Talia Ziggs. It was the most satisfying thing ever. It was like, aha, this negative matchup. I have beaten you.
That's good, because I know that matchup can be difficult.
It's very difficult.
Now, which variant were you running? Were you running the one with the overwhelm unit or no overwhelm unit?
I was doing Waste Walkers at the time.
Okay, Waste Walker.
I think later in the outside of that aggro matchup specifically, I think it actually cost me in quite a few matches because I wasn't running into a lot of aggro. I was running into a lot of combo Samira Seraphine. Anyway, we're into a match. That's what we've been delaying for. It's going to be HDR's Pedro up against samsans once again. This is Jaxorn against Victor Felios, a matchup that we're probably going to become very familiar with depending on how well samsans takes this streamer buff. And, and Jaxorn just being an overall very, very popular deck right now.
Whichever way the paint drips, Zoe.
Hold up. Let's do some quick fixing. All right, second hand is currently unavailable, but no worries.
We'll have a beautiful viewing of that background there. I mean, we kind of know what Jaxorn likes to play. It's a very consistent deck overall, so I think we're able to nail down what they find in this list. Pedro dropping the Jax with 4 mana left remaining will indicate that there is a possibility of a off here. So that Mystic Shot, while it looks juicy in Samsans' hand, I don't think that it's actually doing as much as we think it possibly could be. Augmented Clockling finds one of its brethren. And Pedro has a very scary board. It'll be a lot of
a scary
trouble.
board. Now I know for this, when it comes to swinging with Jax on field, I feel like you do want to make sure that that's at least behind all of the other equipment, just in case the level up comes through. We're now going to see whether or not we have Troll Chant or even Sharesies. I know Sharesies has been a really interesting card that I've been like looking at. I'm like, this is kind of a cool card, right? If you have a nice, good sized equipment, you can transfer it over to another unit, whether or not to save it or to maybe try to sneak in a lethal. Here we go. It ends up being Troll Chant. Keep that unit alive. Oh, see, there we go. Level up.
Big level up. I'm surprised that we don't try to keep the innovative blacksmith alive, but I think that might be Pedro playing to their win conditions here. Because Jaxorn, one of the things that I've noticed in scrims and what have you, is that Jaxorn has a lot of trouble finishing games out if they don't have Overwhelm available. We even saw in that earlier match that the reason why the Jaxorn player was able to win the match was because they had Battle Fury and was because they had double Overwhelm to stick the damage on the board. I think it was actually against Sam's. It was Samsans' earlier match when they were playing Victor Aphelios. And yeah, I mean, that's just something you always have to be worried about with Jaxorn in the matchup is how do I stop them from having the one-off of Battle Fury to then clobber me with a bunch of Overwhelm units at the end of the game? How do I prevent that damage from coming through? And sometimes when it comes at burst speed, the answer is you really can't.
But there's only really, what, 3 ways to handle that in the Targon deck, and it has to be the Silence. That's the only way. It has to be Hush, or it has to be Moonlight Affliction. Mind you, this deck is running Moonlight Affliction, and I need to double check to see if we're even running the Targonian Tellstones that offer such, which, mind you, that is such a good buff, and I think is one of my favorite buffs to ever occur for Targon. We actually are not. We don't have it. We have no Silence whatsoever. So if Battle Fury comes down, we're getting hit.
I think the only way that the Battle Fury doesn't connect properly with a Silence is if it is played on open and then something else is developed at slow speed, and then you use the Sunburst in response. That is the only way that Battle Fury doesn't make its name known.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Crescent Strike is available to make sure that Pedro's not able to strike in with Jax. But the combat hook is here, has a hook in his hand. It's for Aphelios. If a Blacksmith strikes in for 6, we'll be trading off that Space Sketcher, most likely here. And it's still pretty good swing.
It's a great swing. Like, we might not be able to swing with the 3-2 or the 1-2. Mind you, we don't really need to. We have 2 elusives on board. I mean, with this deck in particular, that being the Targon, we end up... I'm surprised we're not running the Cat elusive. That's normally the finish that you want to go to, but I guess we're more so kind of trying to get in that glorious evolution and then buff up the Clocklings.
Yeah, Submersible is the card that I think of when I think of Victor Aphelios right now.
Submersible.
Getting that 5 attack elusive in. And Glorious Evo's there. I've played other variations of Victor Aphelios where it goes more into. I've played one that splashes Seraphine in it, and that's like a much more control heavy version of it that I really enjoyed playing because I like playing funny combo control decks. I was actually looking at lists as well in between matches here, and the highest win rate with 24 matches and a 100% win rate in the APAC region is one of ABG's players, Iris S, who is playing a version of Victor Aphelios that has the top end of Winding Light as 2 copies. It's also running 2 copies of Blowback and 2 copies of Poro Cannon.
Poro Cannon?
Yeah. Poro Cannon.
Interesting.
I don't know what year it is, but it is sure the year of Poro Cannon in that list. Now, of course, this isn't what Samsans is running. Samsans is instead of running a bit more of a low to the ground kind of mid-rangey value play, going for something that can scale up into a glorious evolution, but it might be a little bit too slow as Bellows Breath comes through and wipes out a lot of samsans' board, bringing these units on board down to 1 HP. And look at what the Jax and the Ruthless Raider have. Oh man, that's overwhelm.
There we go. We have to caliber here. Have to shoot it. Just send the Blicky out. Enough waiting. Now, if we have there it is. I was just about to say, if we have the troll chant, it's gonna be devastating because now this unit naturally having tough, we can't ping it. Like at this rate, I'm tempted to use a sunburst to shoot something. All right, we hold on to it.
I might be holding on to sunburst, but I might also be holding on to a fat L, depending on what Pedro has in hand. Big Jax, by the way. I definitely agree with you. I would have shot Jax with that sunburst because we got the troll chant out of hand. But instead we're taking so much damage here and have to resort to the star shaping. And because of our blocks now, the 9 damage from Jax coming through, plus a potential 8 extra damage from Battle Fury if it's in hand.
Oh, we're about to find out. Oh, this is so scary.
Right now.
We definitely needed to shoot something last turn. I understand like wanting to save mana in case you want to, have some extra space in this turn to do something, or whether or not you draw into something. Is that it? Yep, there goes the Battle Fury. Ah, the 8/4 buff. Yep. What are we gonna do here?
Oh no!
No, we're not. No, we're not. I love it. God. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Trades down the whole board. Only Jax survives. We survived through the Battle Fury. Oh, that's why we needed to save mana.
And the reason why both units are shown as dying here is because the innovative blacksmith, or the unit on the left, which is the weaponsmith apprentice, is a 1/2 unit. It has a weapon applied to it because it gets transformed into an exact copy. It doesn't copy the equipment, it copies the unit. So now it is up against the world. It is lore accurate Jax here right now. samsans being that very narrow line of being able to pull out the Hextech Transmodulator does make it so that you wouldn't have to rely on star shaping. I mean, honestly, I'm still trying to think of reasons why we don't rip the sunburst anyway, because it is a 6 damage spell.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole 6 damage spell, so it may have been worth it here. I'm surprised we don't even do it now because we could fight off a troll chant. That would be troll chant number 3, if I'm not mistaken, that we would be battling. But now that we haven't, we can still pop the Jax. Oh, not anymore. Now we got the Forge on. Now it's an 8/8 Jax. Here we go, level Victor.
samsans hoping and praying that they get lifesteal and elusive in the same hex core. It's not physically possible. You can only get one of both. And from the way we've seen it, is it faded?
Is it faded? What is it? Quick attack.
Quick attack. Okay. Not the worst, but also, oh no.
Oh my gosh.
To put it lightly, oh no.
One unit that's gonna have overwhelm. We have goat.
This is a ballsy.
Very. I kind of like it though, right? You have a lot of mana. Your opponent is gonna block with Jax because they know that's their win con. They don't want to take the risk. In this case, you are thinning the board. Oh, there's the catch.
Yeah, but the catch. Oh, with the forge.
Oh, and it forges
as well. Yeah, because they played the weaponsmith apprentice.
There it goes. GG Sams. I'm not sure which game this is. I believe we are gonna go into another game. We're about to find out.
Yeah.
That was a toughie. That was definitely a toughie. And like you see how, wow, that catch into the forge was really good. I was just like, but it's tough as a piltover deck. Like, if you're not running the silences, but even so, like we understand silence like doesn't really interact with equipment like it does with a unit, but it's tough. It's tough. You definitely need to have some really hard removal, and that region in particular doesn't really have the removal for equipment unless you're running the really expensive Hex Obliterator. Targon, does Targon have the removal?
You have Celestial Wonder if you want to try and have a stun to keep things off of your back on attack.
So you can have stun. It's a whole 5-mana stun. But I mean, I think it might be worth it because that's 2 units, right? Let's say you have a wide board and Jax is on Jax or Ornn is on board, or even both. You stun both of them. Like, okay, you know, living another turn. So it might be worth it. I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to be bringing Victor Aphelios. I want to say I don't like targeting decks because I feel like targeting a deck in a tournament setting isn't always good, especially you never know what anyone's going to bring. People can just bring out the most wildest of lineup. But it might be worth it if you understand that, okay, if I'm going to be going up into, you know, like top 64, top 32, whatever the case would be, there are certain decks I'm more likely going to see. It might be worth to like, okay, let me go ahead and, you know, add some stuns in here or some to kind of deal with the mid-range coming at me.
Looking at some statistics, this is of course ladder statistics, and this doesn't account for tech or anything. But Aphelios Victor, in this last Runeterra AR update, has played 460 matches against Ornn Jax, and it has only won 37% of those.
Oh, wow.
So Ornn Jax is a pretty good counter to Aphelios Victor. And other decks that it does not do well into are among the ranks of Lux Jace, J4 Vayne with Freljord, and the Kata Nora list with Broadmane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you do have a lot of these backline units. You don't want them to get removed as readily. Hence the drawback of it specifically. Pedro, though, is playing a Zoe variation of the samsans deck. So while it may look like a mirror on paper, there's a bit of an earlier splash for Pedro to get a little more extra value. Mystic Shot is ripped right away. We don't want Zoe to keep connecting, to keep getting us that value. And it's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slow things down.
We've seen exactly what happens when a Zoe is allowed to stay on the field and ends up getting that level up. And in that case, a Mystic Shot is the perfect answer because now the only way to beat it would be double Pale Cascade. But at that point, I'm not even sure if it's worth it, especially when you know that your opponent is going to have more burn. Double Ballistic Bot, really good. Pedro has their own Ballistic Bot, so we're about to see who's going to, I guess, burn out who, right? We're going to get 1 extra point of damage on Samson's side, but both decks do have healing. So it's like, this is going to be interesting. Ooh, getting the Equinox of Silence. Now we're even.
Wow. Well, not only are we even, but Pedro's Ballistic Bot can actually start bullying Samsans down a little bit. It'll force them to go for a 2-for-1 trade there. If Samsan swings, let's say with the 2-3, and then has the Mystic Shot backup, if they didn't use the Ignition there, that would still mean that Pedro, with the value that they've been able to generate off of the Equinox and everything else, will have pulled a 2-for-1 trade out of Samsans' hand and can go into these next attack turns feeling pretty confident in terms of their positioning now. That being said, well, yep, here's an attack. Trades the higher one, doesn't want to go for the 2-for-1, decides to go for the higher one, but now this other Ballistic Bot is just kind of sitting dead on our board. It's just a 1-3 blocker now, and that's not, I don't know. The last time that I can think of a 1-4 blocker specifically is that, what is that card? Vanguard Lookout, I think? It's a 2-mana 1-4 in Demacia.
The 1-4 or the 1-4 or the 2-4?
The 1-4, the one that's
Vanguard Lookout.
AI card.
Yeah, Vanguard Lookout. Then you say AI card, yeah, it's that one. The moment.
I see the AI play that. I'm like, why are you
very familiar with the AI? Now, Victor versus Aphelios. Of the 2 champions that you want to have on field, who do you think, at least in this particular matchup, is the one that you want to prioritize? Would it be Aphelios because you can consistently get weapons that can kind of affect the way the match is going? Or would it be Victor, who's going to be really scaling into and, you know, getting those keywords to potentially either get elusive, you know, challenger, quick attack, things that are allowed? We already have quick attack, so a challenger would be really nice.
I personally think that Aphelios is better. And I say that because Aphelios can keep generating weapons and keep cycling and keep getting board value and also removing your board and also getting lifesteal where it needs or overwhelm where it needs if you cycle your weapons correctly. Victor is just, hey, let's hope I roll. Oh no, that's aloof traveler.
Oh, they're aloof.
Ignore what I was saying.
Aloof.
Glorious evolution.
Aloof.
The combo. Samsans had the combo in hand. They were setting it up for this turn, and they do not get a refund on their purchases here. Destiny's Call is a very funny card.
Oh man.
Samson's not a man of comedy. There is a time and a place for that, and that is not right now. The Loop Traveler's also swinging in for 2 damage. It's just icing on the cake. First, it removes your Glorious Evolution, and then it goes, hey, now block it. Yeah, that's right. You can't kill it against my deck. Wow, what an insane hit, though.
That's only a one of. Like that's it. We're gonna have to find another one with via manifestation. Pharaoh's Findings here.
I feel like Aloof Travelers needs to be run more in Piltover lists. I was running it in Lux Jace, and it did wonders for me.
Yeah. It's just so good. Like aloofing an Ornn, aloofing in I would say ASO, but we don't really ever see ASO. Tibok, Broadmane. I know those were popular decks.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if anybody actually brings Broadmane into this next open, because Broadmane, if I'm not mistaken, does not do well into Samira Seraphine, so you have to be on the ban option for that and then try to beat Jax Ornn.
Yeah, I think Jax Ornn completely gets decimated by Broadmane. Right, you might have the equipment, but you play Broadmane or you have access to the Disintegrate. You just need something that can deal above 2, because you have to take in consideration the tough. And boom, there goes the board, like the unit's dead. And if you have AoE, well, look at this. Oh, I'm dumping all the burn onto the Victor. Is Victor? Wait, okay, it took a little bit for a load. I was like, is Victor not dead? No, he's dead. But
elusive. Oh,
Pale Cascade, here we go.
Yeah, and that's lethal there. Because now
there we go.
Pedro doesn't have any more removal for the Victor. That was very clutch. Had to throw 2 spells at it. Was hoping that it went through, but Pale Cascade brings Samsans to a game number 3 and keeps their hopes alive against their opponent here. Pedro will have to win 1 more, or Samsans will have to win 1 more to get close to
these
third
game
place.
3s. It's always the game 3s.
It's always the game 3s.
It's tough.
It's gonna be close. Samsans is actually like trying to get every single match he can. I think this is great practice, seeing what you can get.
It is great practice. But... like come this weekend, we're really gonna see what decks are gonna be popping off. Like earlier today, we had discussed, okay, in this tournament, we're expecting Samira Seraphine. I don't think we're expecting 50% of people, like it was like what, 53% of people are bringing it. Oh my word! Y'all saw this deck in the open. You were like, I'm gonna have to play this. Everyone's banning it. It's winning games. It's just doing whatever it needs to do. But what do you think is a good lineup that pairs with it? Like, would Seraphine, Rise, and Ornn do it? Would you want to go 3 control?
You could do 3 control. I actually found out that the lineup I'm bringing, which is Jace, Lux, and Talia Ziggs, pairs really well with Samira Seraphine because it has some similar matchups. Really beats up on some of these slower control lists like Rise, like Karma Set, because they're given the agency to do what they want and then burn people out at the end of the game, and then loses actually more or less frequently to Jax Ornn, Tron Timeline, has like 50-50 matchups into a lot of these other similar things that the other things do. But I think, that being said, the decks that I'm bringing aren't exactly top tier, right? They're not considered to be the best decks overall. And that just goes to prove that I don't think that Samira Seraphine has a good lineup to be put into. You just put it into any lineup.
Okay.
You just throw it in anything, aside from maybe aggro.
Is it the same with Rise though? Like, would you bring both of them, or would you like, okay, I need to choose one or the other?
Like, would I bring Samira Seraphine with Rise?
Because I feel like if anything, Samira Seraphine and like Eternal Rise, those seem to be like, they're up there, if not the best decks of the format.
It is a good tournament deck for sure. I think the only problem with bringing Samira Seraphine and Rise is that you're not covering your weaknesses to triple aggro lists. Samira Seraphine can lose. Plaza Guardians can lose more often than not to anything that's trying to race them or burn them down, and Rise even more so. In fact, Rise has played 64 matches against Lulu Poppy with Demacia. It has won. Rise has won against that deck specifically. I gotta stop using that word. I keep using it very often, but they've won 14% of their matches against Poppy Lulu. 14%.
Wow.
And when you go back up to look at Seraphine Samira, who's also up here, Zoe Poppy at a 49%, which is like, oh, you know, it's not a bad matchup or anything. But still, the point remains that large stats, big boards, that sort of ability to swarm things down or just have an uninteractive combo that moves faster than what your combo is allowed to do can be the bane of these decks. And so putting Samira, Seraphine, and Rise together feels like you're having that kind of common weakness in that regard. So
Now,
I wouldn't pair it with Rise personally, but that's just me.
makes sense. What are your thoughts on Tarek?
On Tarek,
Because I've seen, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I've seen some decks on ladder that have been featuring Tarek, and they've been doing a thing or two, whether or not it be with overwhelm or it be with rallies. And I feel like if we're really trying to beat Samira, Seraphine, or even Rise, we really want to force them to have to deal with 2 attacks in a turn. And I think Poppy really allows for that in the sense, right? These are big statted units. Sure, you can, you know, stun them once, but if you've gone through your full mana in that early game, whether it be turn 4 or turn 5, and it's like, okay, I've used my stuns, and then it's like, okay, hey, I still got 2 units on board. I'm gonna swing with them, and oh, and guess what? They're getting buffed. So you're gonna have to deal with this again. And then with Tarek, we already know the combo, right? If you put any rally that targets onto Tarek and swing, it immediately copies itself over to the next unit and rallies again. So I don't know if it's gonna be fast enough. Like maybe other aggro might beat it down, but I feel like if other aggro also kind of like suffers against statted units, right? Aggro doesn't really have high power units at maximum 3? And maybe some pings, and maybe 4 if you're running Jin because you have the ephemeral unit. I'm trying to think what else. If anything, the only big statted one would be if you're running Poppy, but of course that's the caveat, right? If you have Poppy, now your units have some nice stats, but if you don't, it's like, oh, okay, they're kind of like the cheapy versions, you know? But I feel like Tarek might be something. I don't know if we're going to see it in the open or if whoever's been playing it on ladder has just, you know, been dabbling, experimenting, cooking, but it might be something interesting.
I think the one problem that I see with Tarek, specifically against Plaza Guardians, is that it takes 2 actions to get the combo with Tarek off.
Yes.
And so you have to play the Tarek, and then you have to play the rally, and then you have to attack afterwards, and then you have another rally after that. So if Samir Seraphine, which they always do, has Guile, Pirouette, even its Scrap Dash Assembly to just completely nullify a block, the ability for Tarek to rally in a turn and try to OTK you with a bunch of really wide units and stuff can be diminished by any number of answers that Samir Seraphine has. Like, okay, sure, you get the Tarek on board, you get the rally, but what if Samir Seraphine has a Sputtering Song Spinner in hand, and then they get a Steel Tempest, and they stun your Tarek on the attack, and it's like, okay, well, now I can't attack with it next turn. There are so many different little intricacies that I think that matchup makes it so that in a reactive sense, Seraphine Samira is a much stronger combo.
Yeah.
I like the idea, and I like the fact that Tarek is in Targon because you can run things like Bastion, you can run things like Expanse's Protection, for instance. And if we're worried about aggro early game, you have Cosmic Young, you have Guiding Touch, and so forth.
Yeah.
So there are options there. It's just that the champion combo specifically is so reliant on you having a very niche set of cards that by the time that you're able to set it up, you're either getting slowed down or you're getting burnt out. And that's not something you want to have happen against Samir Seraphine, because once you get burnt out or slowed down at all, you just lose the match entirely. In fact, we're going to test that theory right now as samsans taking on Easy to Win. What a absolute screamer match we have here.
This really is about to be a good one. Oh my gosh, we have both Seraphine and Samira on board. We have the Plaza Guardian. We're going to be able to draw into another one. Jury Rig if we need to block. Mind you, on as to win side, we have Fish Fight, so we can strike one of these units, whether it be Seraphine or Samira. When both champions are on board, I feel more inclined to hit Samira because she can rally, but I don't know if that's correct. I really don't.
Is it correct to hit Samira because she can rally?
So Seraphine kind of just does crazy things when she's leveled.
Yeah. That it's such a tough choice. It's like, do you shoot the good champion, or do you shoot the good champion? It's like I want both off the board. Hello?
These two are just they're menaces. They're menaces in LOR right now. Seraphine ever since she was released. Samira ever since she was released. Even past the nerfs, still is showing out.
Man, I mean, Samira has just been insane since day one. You know, I create a burst speed token that can hit your nexus, that activates plunger, that can also give challenger to any ally, and when I level up, I can rally, and that effect doesn't flip over like it does in its level 1 part. And so they removed all of that. They made it so that, okay, you can only give challenger to Samira now. Okay, well, I guess I'll just, you know, Legionary Charge was actually one of the cards that samsans was considering last round, but instead decided to let the attack go through so the Pill Cascade could hit in case they only blocked with the Favored Artisan, which they did. And if that doesn't end up working out too well for you, well, cool. We have Samira or Seraphine to back Samira up on top of that with removal and all. It's just, I lost my train of thought. I was trying to talk about the Samira level up thing. I was trying to think about how the champion's working, but like my brain got lost in the sauce of intricacies there. Went too hard in the paint. Oh, and hey, here's Samira back again, in case you weren't tired of seeing her already. Number 2 is down. samsans is, yeah, scary combo. Especially because you currently have all 3 Plaza Guardians technically in hand. That Legionary Charge is in this list to draw that card for that specific purpose.
There we go.
So I
like that we're playing it now, so because we already know, okay, I have the other 2. I don't need to level up Seraphine first to level it. I'll just use this to proc Seraphine. Seraphine is currently 6 out of 9, 7 out of 9. So all we need to do is we need Jury Rig and 1 other spell, because I believe we have already played the Simmer as well.
You know what's funny is that samsans actually has the ability to play both Plaza Guardians this turn.
Oh, true.
So you give allied Samira Challenger to pull a unit out of the way. Then you play Jury Rig to get the unit down.
Oh my
and
god!
Every single one of these Plaza Guardians is now 0 mana, hitting for 6/6. You're pulling one of the units out of the way. One of them is hitting. At least one of them is hitting. And is going to take so much of easy to win's HP out. This is terrifying. And, oh, you know what's great? The next Plaza Guardian levels Samira. So when she pulls the combat cook out of the way, she kills it for 1, and for 2, she creates that 0 mana token to then hopefully help her level up even faster again. This deck is insane.
It is nutty. It is nutty. It's absolutely nutty. Now, here's the thing, right? At least we don't really have to worry about a rally afterwards, right? We only have the Plaza Guardians in hand. So what we're really looking for, at least as our top deck, I think would be Sputtering Song Spinner. But that would be what? We level, we're going to be at, but I think we're going to be short 2 cards, maybe. If I'm doing my math right, off the rally. Here we go, level up.
I had to kill the Samir, or Seraphine, golly, I get them mixed up. Every single time. I say it wrong at least once a week here. But they have to remove the Seraphine because they're assuming that the rest of the hand is spells. But samsans says, no, you should have killed the Samira.
Oh, look at this! Oh, 19. We're blocking one.
We have to block one.
No, I was afraid we were going to block the Jury Rig and go on 1. we briefly went over there. I was like, huh? No, we're fine. We're fine.
I think, okay, well, removing the Seraphine makes sense, right? I'm just trying to think of which one makes more sense. Again, remove the good champion or the good champion. you can't really win.
I think at this stage of the game, after Samira's leveled up, I want to say that it's Seraphine because it's Seraphine that's contributing to. Wow, look at this one. 12-10, hitting for 6 damage, but we're on 5 HP. We don't have enough mana to fish fight. So the only thing the only thing that would save us is if we have a frostbite, and it would need to be a double frostbite. If we don't have that, if we're not reading that, and it's like, I mean, I'm over here playing guessing games. Let's go ahead and just take a look real quick. Oh my gosh. A moment of truth. Here we go. Do we have it? We do not. Only Troll Chant. We do have one of 3 sisters, which is really nice. Here we go. The drag. Game 1. Going off the samsans. And we saw that. Look, that was the power of this deck. And I think it really comes down to the fact that you're able to get Plaza Guardian to 0, because mind you, and I was talking to a few people about this. If you had to nerf this deck, what are you nerfing? Is it the champions or is it Plaza Guardian? I think the champions have had nerfs enough. And I feel like if you're nerfing anything, it would be Plaza Guardian, maybe bringing it up to 13, maybe bringing it up to 15, especially given that Stuttering Spawn Singers...
Yeah. All right.
Sputtering Song Spinner is already 4 out of the amount that you need. If you have Seraphine leveled up, that's already 8. So it's... I feel like it would be increasing the cost of Plaza Guardians. That would maybe cause the combo to happen a little bit later. Because I've seen it happen as early as turn 6. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like it should be happening on turn 6. That's kind of just a little bit suspicious.
Night flowers upon my blade.
Yeah, I'm bringing Plaza Guardians. I've already stated this earlier, but I'm bringing it.
You and everybody in their baba.
Yeah, because the deck is nuts. There's just nothing else to
gosh.
it. You can't really work your way around it. Okay, Samsans does have a Zoe. I don't know why I didn't look at the spreadsheet earlier to see if they were splashing a one of Zoe. And Pedro that they were playing against found theirs before Samsans did. This is a good attack for easy to win so far. You know, not really taking the negative trade. Samson's considering the Pale Cascade to get the Innovative Blacksmith off the board, but it would be punished by a Troll Chant, and you might as well not just take the damage anyway, because it's 4 damage. You can heal through that with a Star Shaping pretty easily. Yeah. So, either which way.
The only benefit of just running Target is that I can take a hit or two. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I got the healing of the gods. Zoe's here. We have Troll Chants. We don't have a way to stop Zoe just yet. Mind you, we could Troll Chant if we're really worried about the spell, getting the spell from Zoe. Don't think we really are. I think if anything, it's more worth to Troll Chant one of the bots.
I think so too. Might even use Troll Chant now.
Swinging with the 2/2 and both 2/1s. Okay, thinking about it.
I guess that telegraphs Samsans' hands so much, though. Like, easy to win has to think, okay, they were considering.
Wow, we really did it. We did the Troll Chant.
Gotta deny the super cool star chart. They don't have one in hand, so Samsans isn't creating one now. Better get that out early.
And like, we're not really worrying about big statted power units, because like, all right, they need time to ramp up. I don't need that just yet, but continue.
I was just thinking about Samsans jamming the attack there. Initially thinking of going with both of the 1-drops. I think that really telegraphs their hand easy to win. They were sitting on exactly 2 mana. They were jamming with units that have 2 attack, and both of their units that easy to win has on board, blocks a maximum of 3 damage that round. I wonder what card Samsans has in hand. You know, I think that's a bit of a hand read misplay there, where just kind of giving away that information to your opponent can be so brutal in these kinds of matchups, and could also be detrimental for Samsans. Yeah, if they catch it, which easy to win. Again, top 4 player. I don't doubt that they haven't caught it here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know there are certain circumstances that my opponent like decided to move. Like, even I feel like even just moving a card from your hand to the stack, even though it may be hidden, it reveals information. Oh, okay, you have a spell. It's a faster burst speed spell. In this matchup, I can kind of narrow it down to X, Y, and Z. It's when you are playing, you know, competitively, and you have really put in the time to know this game and to know the cards, you're able to just kind of like get that third sense of like, oh, they have this, they have this, they have this, because of how they've been playing. And look at this lifesteal onto the Victor. We can really now take some hits. Speaking of Victor, hold up, is he leveling? Yeah, we level up.
Yeah, it is leveling here. We could level him at burst speed, or we could level him at slow speed. Pick your poison. I think it's going to be slow speed. Ping the face, get a little more damage from the augment. The Victor level up, now making all those credit cards cost -1. Another Troll Chant for easy to win. So, funny enough, I don't think Zoe will be connecting here again. Even if Samsans swings with everything, could be a Well, if you swing with both of the ballistic bots and Zoe, easy to win does have wow.
That's
Faded.
spooky. That's
Faded
spooky.
Is definitely a keyword that's actually useful here for once because the double pale cascade.
Oh, chant. Okay. There we go. That's so funny. We've gotten faded like 3 times in a row, and now it's it's coming out. We have triple Ornn. A bit of a brick hand, but we are going to be able to get that down. Ornn is not leveled up just yet.
Down to 1 HP on the Victor, though. It's a little bit narrow.
A little bit spooky, but like now it's really like I feel like you're okay not blocking. You're at 20 HP. If you really needed to block, you can sacrifice one of the ballistic box or even the cat. And I feel like now we're coming back to like we're seeing the Jax Ornn deck struggle to end a game when it doesn't get overwhelmed, right? As long as your opponent is able to just keep putting down these chum blockers, we're okay.
No further pleasantries needed. And we will make great things in your name.
My mind went to like, you know, what if Jax Ornn ran Tryndamere as an alternate finisher for Overwhelm? You know, because Tryndamere is just a big stat stick on turn 8.
Yeah,
and it's not nearly as effective as what Ornn can do for sure, but it's still damage. No mana, by the way.
Let me introduce you to a card. Wow, Mystic Shot into the 2/1 to prevent the level up.
That
love to see it.
Play.
Very good play. Before we just saw that amazing play, I was gonna mention that it actually is possible to get Overwhelm for all of your equipped units. You run the Lunari Cultist. That is a 5/5 that has an aura skill that gives Overwhelm to anything that's equipped. It doesn't matter what it's equipped with. So if we really wanted to try to go for that mid-range, hey, I'm gonna be overwhelming you style, we can run that. And on turn 5,
Cultist.
Yeah. Oh, Icefield. No, who's Lunari Cultist? Lunari Cultist is a gem.
It's the gem generator.
Yeah, gem generator. Okay, my fault. Icefield Cultist.
Yeah.
All these Lunaris, cultists, peoples, things, stuffs. Anyway, yeah. So you run that now. Suddenly everything has Overwhelm, and I'm kind of surprised not to see it. Maybe it's just people have seen that it's not really necessary. That Faded coming in handy. Gonna save Victor.
Yeah, it's not really necessary because of like it just feels like it's a negative tempo card. Okay, let's say that you're on turn 5, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing Jax Ornn, what do you want to do? You want to kind of scale up your board a little bit more. You get more units out. You have like a Ruthless Raider, a Jax, and then have 1 more mana for catch. Let's say that you're not paying any spell mana. That feels a lot more effective than just going, all right, boom, Iceville Cultist.
Yeah.
What now?
I guess so. It's true. Like it's kind of like, okay, you got this 5/5. Used all that mana. Now I can kind of just have free reign. Oh, we have quick attack on Victor. Hold up.
We have Overwhelm on Victor in a second here too. There's no Frostbites in Easy to Win's hand. This has been the downfall of Jax Ornn. I feel like, okay, I know that the list for Jax Ornn is really, really tight. The units and the followers that you have are specifically designed to make it so that you're not having to worry about blocking or having to worry about, you know, the game going on too long to where you don't really need Frostbite. But man, the number of times we have seen tonight where we'd have been like, wow, a harsh winds would have been great here, or
because it would have been great.
Would have been great here.
It would have been freaking great. And I feel like that is the only detriment to Jax Ornn, is not really having that kind of interaction. A Frostbite would be nasty against Blazi Guardians. Okay, I survive another turn, or I even survive the rally. In this case, we're surviving the Victor. Now, you know, like you said, it is a tight deck list. You have to run the cards you have to run for a reason. But oh my gosh, we understand how powerful being able to interact with your opponent's board is. And now we're on a real timer because this ballistic bot just needs to stay on the board for 3 more turns.
Wow.
We okay, guy?
Sorry, Hextech Anomaly is a funny card, and it really got my funny bone there. In creating a Sky's Descend.
Not the Sky's Descend.
Oh, it is the Sky's Descend, buddy.
Oh my gosh. There goes the 3rd Ornn coming in clutch. Gonna go ahead and... Wait, is that lethal? Oh no, that's lethal right now. We have no healing.
How
We
is
can't
that?
even draw
Wait,
into
how?
it. It's the Hextite crystal into the ballistic bullet.
Oh, you're right. I thought you were talking about for easy to win side, and I was thinking, over here thinking, Ornn doesn't have overwhelm and he's not leveled. How is that lethal?
No,
What are you seeing that I am not?
The future. No.
The future. Stop reading the script. You're 3 pages ahead.
Oh man, but yeah, that's and easy to win. That season, like these are revealed cards. Mind you, there's also the elusive. We gotta just pass. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah. It's like you're dead to burn and the Hexite crystal. You see that there. There's no healing. There's no frostbite to prevent that victor from swinging. I think that's also why samsans didn't go for saving the victor there on that turn, was because they knew, okay, well, I need to play my predict in order to try and get some other damage in here anyway, because my opponent's already at 3 HP. I know that if I find a Get Excited, I know that if I find like a Mystic Shot even, or in that case specifically, finding the Hexite Crystal into the ignition from the Ballistic Bot, there are so many different ways that Victor Aphelios can find lethal at 3 HP. Yeah. And it just so happened to be the way that showed easy to win. Hey, I predicted into this. You are dead to me just high rolling this card as well. I think it was a little bit BM in that, if you think of it that way, but whatever it was really smart for samsans to know, okay, there's a way that I find lethal right now, and that happened to be exactly what they needed. So really well played by samsans to do that 2-0. And again, the Plaza Guardians getting through with 6 attack when you're playing against Freljord. Like just harsh wins. There
now
has to be space for it.
I need to check this out real quick. samsans brought banned the Jax Ornn. That was the ban. We allowed Seraphine Samira Seraphine to go through Aphilos Victor Zoe, but we banned Jax Ornn. Interesting. I feel like it's always Samira Seraphine is the ban. And I think you kind of just have to like suck up the mirror match between Jax Ornn. It's awkward, don't want to do it, but it might just be the better option, because I mean the issue, like again, the issue always comes down to when it's like Samira Seraphine can do their combo on 0 mana. That's literally it. That's why it's so powerful. The moment they're out of mana, they're not out of mana. Everything's just freaking free. It's compared to another deck where it's like, hey, I spent all my mana, I don't have coins, I don't have anything that can help me right here. If you just so happen to do your thing while I'm on 0 mana, I'm just screwed if I don't have any blockers. It's a tough matchup. It's so flippin' tough.
I mean, that's mana cheating, as they call it, has been a pervasive problem throughout Legends of Runeterra's history. I think that's what people really hated about Ezreal decks when they were played with Victor and Seraphine, was that you could just get Bar on board and then you just cast a bunch of cards for next to, if not equal to 0 mana. So that's one of the issues. We're going really late into this game here.
Wait, this is different though.
With SI against Void playing Swain
Nora. Oh, this is a completely different flavor of decks that we've been watching as of late. We're on turn 10. Is that 2 karmas in hand? That is 2 karmas in hand. With coin? We had a rekindler. We got 1 mini morph. This game has been going. Things have been happening.
Okay, and the game has been going. Things have been happening. We're past turn 10. We'll figure out what we are on, round 10. We'll figure out what we're on after this one resolves. The most HP that Danwind has lost is 1.
Just 1 HP.
Not only has this match gone on for over 10 rounds. Oh, and Danwind's just going to commit 1 back? Okay. Yeah, Void? Oh, man. They're on even ground now.
Oh,
the Condense for the 1 mana copy of Rekindler. Condense is a nuts card. Condense is insanity.
The Condense? Oh, no. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I was playing a game with Condense. I was trying to practice a Nora deck with like Broadmain. And my opponent ended up playing Captain Farron, and with the swiftness, mind you, my opponent was below, like, I think my opponent was at 6. I condensed the Captain Farron, followed up with Mini Morph, and then played it.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
like, yo, that card with just summon effects, and like I've even played the Shelly variant where like you're trying to get as many Shellys on the board as possible so you can swing for that really, you know, fat, elusive attack.
Sure.
Disgusting. And then we've even seen what BB does with his freaking 3 of them out. Just machine gun the Nexus.
BB is actually still prevalent, by the way.
What are the popular decks for BB?
It's in a slightly different flavor now. Apparently, Fizz Nora is the way
yes.
BB now.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Sometimes they splash, making a bath. No, splish splash. You splish splash a Twisted Fate in there, occasionally, depending on how you feel, depending on the.
Look at this turn reset.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's just get Karma back real quick.
And Karma back in hand. Unworthy soul twice. So if you kill her again, well, it ain't happening.
I think this is the part of the game where Karma is going to really start taking over, because I feel like if you're playing Swain Nora, you really want to have Leviathan out. You want to start getting the lock in. But even so, with Karma now having access to many of the Shadow Isles tools, and not only that, but you know, with Karma being on the field, she's able to create the cards from those 2 regions. We very well might just take. I think we just take over the game. Okay, that is not a card we ever want to see. That's trash. Cool effect. It came with the RE package with basically summons. Ooh, Disintegrate.
That's the card where I'm thinking, damn, I really wish I was playing Piltover and Zon so I could discard that. Like, that's the kind of feeling that it has. Deny is found here, but we're going to be playing Tag Out instead to take the Karma back into hand, and then Karma's played again, and then we can play the coins. Because this creates, what, two coins?
Yeah, 2 coins. 2 coins. Yeah. So we get 4. We end up going back up to 4 mana. Well, not up to 4 mana, but we'll gain 4 mana once we replay Karma. This. What do we even do here? We're looking for cards. If anything, we did see earlier that a mini morph. I mean, we see it on field. Mini morph was played, so we can't expect that there are potentially more mini morphs in the deck. Speaking of which, I need to see these deck lists. Let's go check out Voids real quick. Let's go look at this Nora Swain. Oh, it's only a 1 of mini morph, so that's it. We used our mini morph. We have only 2 Disintegrate. That one was already used. Don't really have a lot of options. The Scorched Earth was a 1 of as well. Yeah, there it goes, the GG. We ran through our answers of having to deal with Karma, and now that we've reached that round 10, it's like, oh, what do we really do?
That's such a funny surrender screen.
That's a toughie. It's a toughie.
Can you imagine making your opponent surrender when the only damage you've done to their Nexus is 1 damage with a Spiderling?
That's a battle. That's a grind. I wish we saw the rest, because I need to know, why are we only taking 1 HP each time? Were we just always blocking? We know things were happening on board. There was units. You telling me we just been avoiding the open swing? Mind you, I'm not surprised. And hear me out. The reason why we weren't swinging was because we didn't want to get any damage on our units, because we wanted to force our opponent not to end up getting the swing level up. Just saying, okay. Wow. I'll just wait until turn 10. How are you going to deal with Karma once I reach turn 10? I don't have to swing with anything. Nothing has to get damaged. Mind you, Shadow Isles and Arena do have innate healing, so it's possible that we've taken more damage. Oh, and now we get to get Rise Swain. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe that once Swain is leveled up and Rise is on field, if we have Leviathan and Swain, Rise through the spell shield will get stunned and is stun locked for the rest of the game. If we're not able to deal with it.
Correct.
Okay. So
if that combo does come through, and that's to say that Rise doesn't have ways to recall or obliterate or whatever to make sure that the Swain doesn't stick on board at that point in time. But that's a very big if. That's a big perhaps maybe kind of deal going on there. I'm trying to look for matchup stats here to see if there's anything that indicates that this deck goes in favor of either player here. And really, it looks like the Katarina Annie is the closest that I can find in terms of region combos to the Rise.
That's the popular one.
And the Rise versus Katarina Annie is a 50-50 matchup. It is a total toss-up, depending on, and I believe that's dependent on how hard you brick on your rune draws, on your draws of Delve into the Past.
Yeah.
And how well Void is at removing spell shields. Now, we know that we have the mini morph in hand as well, so we can, at burst speed, well, we remove the spell shield first, and then at burst speed play mini morph to make sure that Rise doesn't get to stick on board in case he does ever get leveled up later in the round. However, with there being 2 in hand, we're actually free to play one if we really wanted to. But Danwind going to be playing a little bit slow to play the drum solo, finds the time trick and the Eye of the Dragon? Yeah, Eye of the Dragon.
Yeah.
To make sure that that board is there. Portal is played back and pass.
That is going to be a total of, we have 3 portals so far. I feel like if you are going to be, I think the portal gameplay against Rise is good because there's a chance that you might have a, get lucky and aggro them down. Shurima Tailstones, not sure if we're going to go with that option. I think we might be going for the draw. You have to go for place your bets.
Yep.
Because like at the end of the day, Void is playing a control deck, I want to say. And although, yeah, we can get units on board, they are dependent on whether or not we have Nora, whether or not we get the draws, whatever the case may be. Which we do in this case, so we're gonna really see what kind of units are gonna be coming out. Nothing that we can really condense on Dan's side, so we are gonna probably most likely look to condense our own Leviathan or even the broad main that we have in deck. I wouldn't be surprised if we even go for a Loof. See if we can try to snipe the Rise out of hand.
I think condensed Loof is hilarious. Just me personally.
Here we go. Is this gonna hit? This is gonna hit
boy.
place your bets. Oh, we have 3 Rise. We have all of them now.
Oh, Shard of Betrayal is massive
huge.
here as well.
I believe the order in which you want to get the runes is Reverence. You always want the mana one. And I think right after you want Shard of Betrayal. It actually might be against an aggro matchup, Shard of Betrayal first, then Reverence, because then you can get 2 procs of Betrayal going. You'll play it proc, Reverence proc.
It's matchup dependent for sure. I think even in aggro matchups, you want Betrayal and then Hope, because then you can remove 2 units and heal 2 HP.
Yeah.
On top of, you know, finding an Eye of the Dragon. You really have to high roll against aggro with this list because that is one of its main weaknesses. But Shard of Violence is actually picked out. We don't even want to remove the Nora because we're not worried about it. We just want to keep drawing into our landmarks, because even though Void does have Scorched Earth as an available spell to remove these land. Actually, are they even running it? Hold on. Scorched Earth might not be being run. We saw it last week, but that might have been one of. One of. Okay.
Yeah, only a one of.
Mini Morph. Yeah, that's a card.
That's good.
But also, both these players kind of in a staring contest more than anything.
This bout security though, we get to get off 2 of them. They're gonna have quick attack.
It's kind of funny.
Do we rip it now?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Bout security might also overwrite.
Oh, when I'm summoned, create a fleeting bout security and grant the other bout 1/1. Empowered 5. Okay, empowered 5 is quick attack, so they need to gain 5 power to get the quick attack.
The card sucks.
Hear me out. What if we condense the bout security?
I'm taking my headphones off if you ever say something like that again. I will not be hearing you out on that.
You can get a bunch of 5/5s. They cost 1 mana and they copied it. Is it an exact copy?
I don't think it is. It's a copy. It's such a bad card. You're just then creating a 1/1 bout security on hand.
I mean, listen, maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens.
I see the vision, but wow, I needed glasses for it. Like, and I'm glad I wear those naturally. Anyway,
at what point do we swing? That's my question. Okay, now.
Right now. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Right. I don't know what it is about like these control matchups. Like earlier, I was doing fine with Jax Ornn and Seraphine Smear because you're like, oh yeah, here's the combo deck doing its thing. But then against control decks, I'm just I don't know what's happening. I play these archetypes all the time, and I still don't know what's going on. I don't know what to talk about.
We're just waiting. We're waiting.
It's like we have three bout security, which is a card that you'd never see on deck, on the board. Versus Rise, who's just kind of sitting here with his landmarks looking real pretty, and Void having a full hand. I had a pun that I wanted to pull out here. I warned you about in DMs earlier. I'm gonna try it now. But you know how there's the saying of like idle hands are the devil's handiwork kind of thing.
Okay.
Well, I think both of these players have the hand of God, because these hands are not definitely idle. There are so many options available for everyone here. In fact, Danwind could go for a pirouette into a mini morph to get this Rise off of the board right away, if they really wanted to do that. But instead Leviathan's played, because I figured that Void is calculating out, okay, if I can get Leviathan down into the Swain being on board, into being able to stun that Rise down, the game plan we were talking about earlier, that makes this board so much more potent, and it makes Danwind's
we're burning! We're burning the Leviathan!
Oh no, we're burning Levy!
We have to pop a condense. No, we can't pop condense. Pokestick. No, we can't pop Pokestick.
Trinket trade to hopefully find a 1-mana ping.
Okay, we
find
did.
Elixir of Wrath. Wow.
Wow, that was a close one. We almost lost Leviathan. That was so close. We still are gonna burn a deck on a card on top once we draw. Are both players? No, only Void will be burning a card.
And you know what's funny is that Danwind can still play the Shard of Violence here if they want to. Of course, gonna be playing.
True.
Gonna be playing the Autopus here to get a card out of hand. You know, you can prank.
Yeah.
Get the card out of hand. Grant +2 cost probably to that pirouette. Could even grant -2 power to the vulnerable, but I was thinking pirouette's the better hit. And then now you can play Shard of Violence and have full spell mana again and heal too. This is
so efficient.
Rise playing at its peak here. Oh, and a Delve into Past in case you didn't think your turn was already good enough.
Oh, this is looking scary.
This is indeed another Delve off the top. It's not found.
Drum solo. Portal. Level up.
Makes a portal. Grabs a Nora. Do we have draw?
On Rise's side? Or Nora's?
On Nora's side.
No, we burn Leviathan?
We have double Pokestick.
Yeah,
so
Pokestick.
It's decent, right? Because if you Pokestick into a good portal, which we have seen win matches before, that could also be a really good turn of events for Void and force Danwind to play their mana more onto the protect Rise side of things. Because as it stands right now, Void Pokesticking into Mini Morph would be a good turn for them. Trying to go for even the Brought main and hopefully drawing a good portal off the top, or trying to play Leviathan. Leviathan's a bit slow. But anyway,
now
Void has options.
Hear me out. I think in this case, when you're playing around a unit that naturally comes with Spell Shield on level up, I believe you pop the Spell Shield, but then you wait until they've reached that point where it's like they're looking like they're wanting to get that swing in, or like they get an extra shot on board, and then go for the mini morph, right? And you have to be careful not to put yourself in the losing position, or where they will have enough mana to play the second Rise if they quote unquote have it. At this stage of the game, that's a bit tricky because we do have a lot of mana to work with. So not only will you have to do that, save 6 mana to, you know, prepare that mini morph, you have to also make sure that you're going to have interaction to deal with whatever's coming on after. With this deck in particular, if you have the stuns, it is possible. Like the pirouette, but this is now just looking tricky.
If Rise's Realm Warp finds a Delve into the Past, Danwind wins on the spot. Because you don't have enough mana to, or you don't have the speed.
3. Oh, we didn't find it.
Nothing. That was... Because if Danwind finds it there, Void doesn't have enough mana or really the time to... Wait, no, they have Pokestick into Pirouette, which would be all of their mana. But then they just, I don't know, recall Rise? Or
You don't even need to. You can just keep Rise on field.
Yeah.
But it would have to be your Pirouette Pokestick. That's the only way to do it. And now we just showed our opponent, okay, we don't have it. Going for the next Pokestick.
I'm surprised we don't pair Pirouette here, but I think that is Void saying like, okay, well, you don't have 5 landmarks on board. That gives me time to put in an extra action here. And Arachnoid Sentry, even more importantly. That's something that can't be denied by a Nopify in case Danwind had another one in hand. Oh wait, but the Pirouette's at 4.
Yeah.
So it would have to be exactly a deny for Danwind. And that is not what they have right now.
This is... But, like, we're at 17 HP on Dan's side. At what point as Void are we going to get into a position where we win? I mean, would it be this broad main? Would it be getting broad main on field and having to deal with that? Shiraza here. For those of you that hasn't seen Shiraza, Shiraza is a 3/3 unit that deals double damage to the Nexus. So if you're feeling a little saucy with your deck building, go ahead and try a Shiraza Overwhelm deck.
All right, hear me out on this one. I get to have my unhinged moment now.
What's your unhinged moment?
Shiraza with Overwhelm combined with Curse of the Tomb, you do quadruple damage to Nexus.
I feel like you're talking my language. I don't even know if that's crazy. That sounds like he's talking about Curse of the Tomb.
We understand each other. Let's go.
All right, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and block Recall. We're gonna take 8 damage. It's gonna force us to replay the Rise. Our hand is looking full. Ooh, mini morph immediately.
Ooh.
Yeah, we can draw onto Rise.
We already, yeah, we can draw into Rise. We played a couple of them already. There's a possibility that we even rip off the Deep Med here to try and find one. Or we have Entreat, actually. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, we have Entreat.
So there are...
Now...
man. I want to say that it's like... It's so close for Rise to win, right?
Yeah, it's right there.
Void is chipping away. They are just slowly getting damage in here. But as soon as Danwind finds the one card that they need to win this game, that is it. The game is over. So even though the Void has this very intimidating board going down right now, here's another Rise that has Spell Shield again, so you can't stun it right away. We don't have a Pokestick in hand. We have to remove the Spell Shield, possibly with the Arachnoid Sentry right now, to then give ourselves the opportunity to play the Pirouette, or use the Pirouette now, either way. It's like, if
there we go.
If Danwind finds the next landmark off of this Deep Med, and you weren't able to remove that Spell Shield to get the stun down, it's game over. It's over. That is such a razor's edge that Rise balances on, and how they've been able to stave off this Swain Nora deck so far.
Oh, there it is.
By the way, here it is, but they're not going to be able to get the attack through because they have to play the landmark first. And fortunately for Void, they do have a stun in the form of an Arachnoid Sentry. Then, if Rise is recalled with the help of the Unworthy Soul, they have the Pirouette to follow up after.
Oh man, it's because although our hand is full, we play a card that recalls Rise to hand. It's fine. There's no way to make our opponent draw another card.
No, that is lethal. Because the Spell Shield resets.
Yeah, it resets. It resets on the recall. You want something like this to come out, because you have just enough mana to replay it. Spell Shield will come out. We don't have a way to proc it. We're going to have to... No, we get to play Rise. Then it's our action. Yeah, I think that's GG. We don't have the interaction.
Oh, I think the interaction is that you high roll something off of the
Conchologist.
High roll something off of Conchologist, but it's not going to happen in time because you have to remove the Spell Shield and stun in the same action. It's over. Danwind wins. Spell Shield is so tough for Swain Nora to deal with. I mean, Conchologist is
Blaze Edge.
Blaze Edge pings it, but it's not going to be in time because Rise gets to attack, hits the uppercut.
Wow.
It was just a matter of one turn, and those recalls keep the Rise out of the stun range to win the round for Danwind, taking the actions exactly when they needed to, and winning that out 2-0. But even though it's a 2-0 result, I feel like the matches that we saw were on like a very fine set of margins.
Oh, absolutely.
One or two cards in favor of Void there would have gone their way. So really well played by Danwind to be patient with the way that they played it out and make sure they were finding those lethal lines at the end of the game.
Whew. That Rise is an interesting deck to play. I mean, we see why it's being brought by players. We see why it won the recent Open. It's a strong deck. It can delay. It has all of the Ionian tools that are necessary to, you know, try to stave off defeat, whether or not it be, you know, halting your opponent's plan or even healing yourself. It's really difficult to beat, and the Norris Swain can definitely do it, but you need fast speed interaction. The moment that you have slow speed, it's a lot harder. And I don't know. I wonder if, you know, with Rise being a thing, if players are going to be more inclined to bring more copies of Mini Morph. I feel like I would. Like, you pop the spell, shoot, you Mini Morph it, or even try to go in a Loof route. But even then, with the Loof, like, there's a lot of cards that cost more than Rise, right? We have Place Your Bets, which is at 5, that can easily save Rise from being discarded. I feel like there's no way to obliterate a deck. At least I don't think fast enough that before Rise pops out, because we have Deep, right? We have Maokai, if you're able to get that off. You also have Lissandra, but I think Lissandra might be way too slow with the Watcher. If anything, if you wanted to really obliterate that, I think it has to be Maokai Nautilus. But then again, how great is Deep right now? Because if Deep runs into aggro, oh, we kind of got a problem right there. I don't know if Deep is going to be able to make it. Right? Maybe in Standard, it's a great deck, because we see time and time again in our Standard tournaments, Deep is always coming through. But how the heck do you deal with Rise if you're not bringing triple aggro?
I'm trying to see if there's stats available right now for Deep. Yeah, and in Runeterra AR on the Ranked Eternal side of things, they don't even have stats for people running Maokai Nautilus. I think you're right. It is just that slow. And Rise, as much of a control deck as it is the control deck that eats other control decks. One of its best matchups, I'm sure, as you're unfortunately aware, is Anivia. It has won nearly every single match it's played.
I would just like literally FF. Like, you know what? You got this, fam. You could
take the LP. Don't waste both of our time.
Yeah, you got this. I'm not even gonna try to do anything in regards to that.
White Room against Total. Timeline up against the Fizz Nora Twisted Fate deck that I was talking about earlier.
Ooh, with the TF.
Which is that BB OTK Shelly shenanigans. Listen. In My White Room is part of the Shadow Wizard Money Gang, and they love casting spells. Okay, that is what's going on in this match.
I dig it. We love a good spell slinging deck. So now, I wonder if we were able to proc timelines yet. I don't believe we have.
No, because we played this Clockling on curve.
Okay.
And it did not transform, so haven't found timelines yet. So that will be Total's detriment? No, what am I looking for here? It'll be the part that does slow them down quite a bit, because these units aren't going to be able to trade into White Room's board quite as easily. As soon as White Room finds their combos against Total, this match will run away from them very quickly. Once timelines is found, I think that the stats will be too much too quickly for White Room to handle, but we might already be past that critical point as soon as we're able to get a Shelly, get a BB, any of those sort of things on board. It's more a matter of who can find the combo pieces first, and White Room, off of not having timelines early, has a massive advantage in this point in time.
Yeah, because we also don't have our own combo pieces though in My White Room. Like, we have these units on board, but we do need to see if we can find that BB or that Shelly. So we might not have timelines, but it seems like both players definitely need to find their combo cards, or at least the rest of their combo cards.
Consider Condense on Augmented Clockling? Like, I don't know. Try to, like, just look for things, I guess. I have nothing.
We have some draw.
Nothing, though.
But actually, okay, so in this deck in particular, we have Shelly and Riptide Vex. Those are the combo that we're looking for. Primarily looking for Shelly. It's just defense, plenty of removal. And for Trundle Orn, full package. The stairs are buried in ice. Ooh, Bellow's Breath running naturally.
Whoa! I mean, yeah, no, buried in ice makes sense. I've seen some Trundle decks not want to run buried in ice because some people think it's too slow. You take an entire turn to play it, and then if you're playing against something that can re-combo off of it anyway, that doesn't care about that removal, you just play a 9-mana card, do nothing. Like,
yeah.
Cool, I'm gonna punch in for some damage here. I'm gonna ruin their combo so hard, and it doesn't always win you the game. it can win you the game, but there are some scenarios where if you have to use it defensively to prevent yourself from dying, that's where it feels really bad to play against.
Yeah, if anything, I want to say that it's probably really good against like Ornn, because right on turn 7, that's when you're gonna have enough mana to play it, and if that's basically their whole board plus their champion. You can say goodbye to any of the equipment that's there. That's probably what that card is primarily for, at least maybe for this tournament, or even the upcoming Open. I can see that being a really good counter to that, especially since when you cast Burden Ice, it obliterates, so all that equipment that they may have created or even forced on is gone.
And that's why Ornn Jax doesn't do well in a Trundle Ornn, because Trundle Ornn does run very nice quite often. At least as a one-of. And Trundle Set being the other one. You recall those units, you put all those equipments back in the hand with the help of Old Timer. And that's another matchup that doesn't go very well for Ornn Jax.
Ooh, Bellows Breath coming out.
Bellows Breath is big. Ornn is also pretty massive. White Room. Neither player finding their combo cards, but Total's mid-range capabilities really showing their true colors here. It's going to be another at least 5 damage to White Room's face, and with it being a combo spell burn, well, okay, they'll probably play another Coral Creatures this round, but with it being another combo-ish deck in this list, it's kind of tough to say that White Room has outs to play to. There's no healing really to prevent these swings coming in from Total. And next turn will also be the Ice Pillar turn, so Trundle levels up and becomes an Overwhelm unit. You don't want to block with this deck. That's a terrible idea. You don't want to lose your combo pieces. You don't want to lose your elusives and so forth. So Total really is commanding the board as well as they should be. Ornn's Bellows, or the Bellows Breath. I see Ornn on it, so I say Ornn's whatever. I was going to say Ornn's Forge, but Bellows Breath, reducing the board down is pretty tough to handle, and Twisted Fate's actually going to be played here instead. I'm not sure entirely why.
Heroic Refrain?
Heroic Refrain onto the Coral Creatures to take 6, 7 this turn.
Ooh, blocking everything. Okay.
Wow.
You gotta go to try to prevent damage. You know the pillars coming down, that's gonna provide a lot of damage onto Trundle.
Yeah, that's why they played the Twisted Fate, was to get the Piltover Castaway down into Heroic Refrain range. So that's a good line from White Room to see, just keeping those units off the board.
Lots of draw, lots of spells, not what we're really looking for right now. And I think even on Total side, we don't have, we didn't get timelines, so we're not going to get any fancy units on board that we can condense on from InMyWhiteRoom side.
I don't know, as this game goes on now, like, sure, earlier in the game, White Room had the advantage of, hey, I just need one combo piece to win the game. Either a Shelly or a BB or Rifthead Rex would have been fine. But when Total's allowed to scale into this Trundle level up, it doesn't matter if you're able to find your units or not.
Oh my
Trundle's
gosh, look at this, 11-14!
That's lethal by itself, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Shoot, do we need to play another
insane.
unit? I mean, we could destroy the equipment. Yep, there we go.
Heavy metal. Coral Creatures first.
Okay.
I dig it. Group shot.
Stand with me.
No, that's fine. That's actually good. That's good, because now that goes on to the equipment rather than the unit, and now you can get rid of those stats.
Heavy metal. It's the sauce. Bring it in your Bilgewater decks.
There we go. Yeah, 7/7, because we did end up hitting a Hearth Blood onto the Trundle earlier. We have even more Forge. We can open up with Forging. Look at this, 7/9. It's gonna become a...
Doesn't
What,
that
10?
just give you... Oh, and that sucks to hit too. That's why I don't like hitting the Yeti Trapper. Or Avarosan Trapper? Yeti Trapper?
Yeah, Avarosan Trapper.
Avarosan Trapper, okay. That's why I don't like hitting it off of the portal there, is because it can break your draws with that Yeti. White Room has to find a way to block all of this damage. It's there's not a whole lot of
I don't think we have anything. We're
We have
exactly
nothing.
lethal. Group shot doesn't do it because that unit's 3 HP. Yeah, I think that's. We could try to Portapalooza, get a blocker. That would put us
Nope.
down to 2.
Focus.
Oh no, it's focus speed.
now.
Oh my gosh, they nerfed it. Yes.
Yep. Same with
Yeah,
I have
right.
Nakake Boros.
Yeah, true.
Both of those being previously burst speed cards, which is really funny to me.
Listen, from this point forward, they better not make another burst speed summon something because we already know what's gonna happen to it. They just nerf it immediately. Just nerf it. We already know you're gonna do it. Don't bring it into the game and then make our hopes up.
Yeah, imagine that Samira's token gets nerfed to focus.
I have to focus with that.
I don't think that does a whole lot.
I'm not sure
I
if it
just think
does a whole lot.
I just think it could happen.
It'd be
just
funny. I feel like making
given
it
the
cost
pattern.
something. Making it cost something would really do it.
Yeah.
Now suddenly you can't really burst speed. Like if you strike for a few times, you won't be able to burst speed rally there, or even contribute to the Plaza Guardian level up.
Legitimately, I think that the best nerf that you can give to Samira now at this point is to make it so that she doesn't make a token on summon.
Just completely taking that out completely. You
Yeah,
think
just
that
make it so she
would
gets
that
on
gut her too much?
I think it would. I think, like, considering the other buffs, you'd have to give one of the other things back. Like, she couldn't, maybe the Challenger can go into another unit now. That's fine. But she has to strike first, right? That would be the caveat of the card. Instead of being able to just get it on summon, and now it's a discard outlet. Now it's something that I can use to control the board better. Or it's a plunder activator. It does too much on turn 2 if you bank mana on mana 1 for that champion to be allowed to continue to exist. I think making it so that it only creates when Samira strikes will hard nerf the champion and make it so she never comes back. Because seeing 55% prevalence of Samira in this tournament is ridiculous, and seeing it as prevalent as it will be
I can't say it's not.
is going to be ridiculous.
Because even we were running standard tournaments, Samira was top of the line, top of the list, always there. All right, good hit. We got Nora. We're gonna get into that Father Fury. Gonna refill a mana, get a spell. We do have both Shelly, so now we're really just looking for Condense. And I can really pop off with this deck. Total, I believe, running a Karma set. Let's take that look at that real quick. See what do we got now. Karma set, I'm pretty sure, is running. Oh, really? This is not a go hard deck. It's just Karma set. Rekindler's got a pod. A lot of the control. We got Vile Feast, Tag Out, the box. We're really probably looking to take care of those aggro. Withering Whale, 2 of Vengeance. Okay, so not really looking to get the go hard victory, just simply going for the classic Karma set, but now we have the Shadow Isles package instead of the Piltovian. I like that we're going Shadow Isles. I feel like that really enables you to deal with some of the bigger mid-range decks that might be trying to challenge you, like whether it be Jax Orin, or if we even maybe see any kind of Vayne decks with the Demacia decks come through, like Vayne Jarvan or Aatrox Vayne. Now we have Vengeance and Recalls to slow down their game plan, or just simply take it off the board completely. Now the question is, we have Shelly, but Shadow Isles has 6 mana. We're gonna play it, but this is basically gonna tell us right now, do they have the Vengeance? Oh, even better, the box.
Not enough mana for White Room to save it either with Heroic Refrain.
We can do what? Pytos into Pokey?
Probably, yeah. Pytos Pokey gets you the buff off of your other units, which is pretty good. Everything else getting buffed up to, Nora becoming a 2/3 is intimidating in and of itself.
Oh
and
no!
Also, oh no!
You're gonna get
oh
wiped!
no!
No!
No! This is not the result you wanted.
That hurts.
That is
You're still going
brutal.
in for some good damage. Not the Samira. Samira remote. That's not the time that we wanted to see the Dora portals pop off.
Reply in the chat to the right. What kind of emote you felt in that moment? Me, I was the Star Guardian Talia one.
Star Guardian Talia?
Yeah, the one where she's like having her hands like, no, I don't want this at all.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
For me, it's the Soraka emo, the Y.
That's good.
fine.
What about or the Soraka one where she's just on fire? Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, that's another one. I love that one.
That one's very good. All right, bye, Nora.
We're gonna buffer. No, it doesn't work.
No. I mean, no, it wouldn't work. It would be +2. It would get set down to 1 HP, and you could hypothetically throw the Perilous Pastry at him as well. But then again, you're throwing damage-based removal at Ionia, which I'm not sure how wise of an idea that is. And let me tell you, actually, pro tip, I can tell you how wise that is. It isn't. Shelly's dropped onto the board again, but what if second box, what if vengeance is questions that Total can ask of their opponent, but White Room has such a wide board right now with burst speed spells available that it might not even be a problem. Well, we do have Condense as well to make a second Shelly if we wanted.
Yeah, we do have the combo right now. I don't think we won't be able to proc both Shellys, but we can proc, I believe. Hold on, no, because we play 2, we play 1, that brings us back up to 2 mana. Okay, we actually technically can proc, I think, both Shellys. It would be condensed into 2 1-mana spells.
That's
or even Warning Shot.
That's just gross. And Set can't really block here without committing a defensive spell on this attack. Unless you want to block like a lower HP unit or lower attack unit, which is possible, right?
Ooh, Bone Skewer.
Bone Skewer. I'm a fan of Bone Skewer because if, let's say that Set blocks the Conchologist, right? Okay, no, Ebb is better. If blocks the Conchologist, you throw Bone Skewer, then has to use defensive spell to protect Set anyway. And you get that option out of them, and then you can replay the Conchologist the next turn to get another spell. That's like my greedy line of play.
We can, if we're not blocking with Set, can we win right here? Because we can still get another Shelly proc. No, I don't think it's not enough. It's not enough. Now that we've used the stun. Still doing it though.
Oh wait, hold on. Nope. Okay, cool. I can't
14?
do math. That's okay. I didn't need to.
That's still scary.
You know, what if Ebb and Flow hits Nexus twice next turn? I don't think it's, again, Shadow Isles Ionia has so much healing and denial available.
It does. It does. So we can definitely heal out of the teams, but this next board, I don't know about that now. That's going to be the tricky part.
Here comes the Condense to save the Shelly, so we just have another one in the back of the board that pays for itself. Into the Ebb.
Hits that second barrier.
It was just the funny interaction, right? You're kind of hoping that hits face, but you know, 1 in 3 chance, and you hit the champion that gets barrier anyway on attack. Not exactly the greatest result, but that does open it up to a couple more vulnerabilities, including playing the Shelly into the Ebb, or into the Flow, and then the Ebb and Flow. So this board will be getting buffed even more. And this is the combo the White Room needed last round. That they weren't able to find. This is just absolutely
Withering Wail. Healing up for 3.
Yep, forcing the issue now.
Okay.
Healing the Nexus.
Even though these Shellys are dying, they're putting in work. Look, we have a 7-8, 6-5, 5-7, 6, 2 6-5s. This is a powerful board. We only have 1 blocker. We don't have the AoE to deal with this now. We need to deal with it earlier.
What are you gonna do? Throw a vengeance at a Poro Herder?
Whip up anything special for tonight?
I guess so. I mean, it's exactly what's threatening us right now. Hold up. Filling up Banner. What's going on? Oh, double mixologist.
This is the problem of not knowing Total's hand. Is just we have to kind of go off of what we can see in front of us. So while it does sound like we're saying this game's so over for Total Master, it's just based off of what we can see right now on the board. You know, double mixologist is a way to keep them at high health, and they have healed 9 HP this round off of the Withering Wail and double smooth mixologist to make sure that they heal for 9. in total, which is a great turnaround. And the set level up means that the next threat that comes down on board will be obliterated, including this Poro Herder, which can now be obliterated for 0 mana.
Oh, here we go.
So things are turning around in favor of the set Karma list with SI. Whiterun will need to find a way to keep another Shelly on board, or potentially a BB to get that lethal damage in if they can possibly go for it. But it's all a matter of, can they find it? And a matter of when they will.
Oh man. I mean, we have the blockers, right? This deck isn't really going to be doing anything overwhelming.
This is an EP list. What am I saying?
Like, we're perfectly okay. I mean, even if Reptile Rex comes down, these units are pretty beefy. If anything, we're looking for, what, the last Shelly, I want to say? Last Shelly in the second condense?
That'll have to be it. Because you're not running, they're not even running BB in this list. I thought this was a BB list, but...
No, I think just Shelly, yeah.
It's just Shelly and Riptide Rex.
Ooh, Tack Out and Soul Harvest.
Yeah. I mean, we get a little bit of intel on their board here, but Tag Out's available to protect a unit. You get your blocks in anyway. You're only taking 1 damage here. Like, it's not threatening a whole ton. Set gets to get recalled here back into hand. It is at the cost of 4 mana, which I think is a more reasonable cost for that spell anyway. But
yeah,
the
this is looking. Solo's about to turn this game upside down. We're already on turn 9. We're saving the set. There's no units. We're on 12. There's not a lot of burn that we have to deal with. We're not dealing with Piltover. Karma is in hand. I can confirm this.
Karma's in hand. I saw what Whiterun wanted to go for there. They were considering using the Vandal City Telstones to try and play Playful Trickster to get a rally off this turn. But instead decide to save the 2 units to see if they can get the hit. And there's the second hand. Let's go. Okay, so all of Total's late game is here. The Karma is available. Chempunk Pickpocket, not a game-winning card. Karma, on the other hand, is. There's a coin in hand.
Oh, here we go. Karma's here.
Oh boy.
He's about to kick some ass. I want to see this double Withering Wail. I want to be surprised. What do we need? We need elusive. We need to beat that. Now, mind you, if this was a BB version, I feel like we would have had a chance, because when you're running Winning Shot, you can't. That is the way that you beat Karma when you're running a BB deck. You need to have the Winning Shot, and you get the keg combo.
Yep. And playing this coin will get the mana back for the double.
Ooh, Dragon Ambush.
Well, Dragon Ambush is a little scary. Karma leveled up, getting that buff ages ago, where she now has the level 1 effect where she creates a card in hand every single round. This attack, Whiterun doesn't know it yet, but it does nothing. It actually heals Total for 6 HP, which actually brings the healing of this game for Total up to 15 points of damage.
Wow.
That is insanity. In
GG.
one of my open matches, Whiterun knows that they can't push the damage. In one of my open matches as well, I played against Tryndamere SI, like classic FTR, and I lost because they had 20 points of healing. Sometimes when you're playing these lists that are really, they had triple Tavern Keep, they had Withering Mist, they had Withering Wail, they had all these kinds of things, and that is what SI really does in this list that Piltover and Zon doesn't supplement quite as well for Karma set, is keep you off of those lethal turns. We saw that this list went down to 3 HP earlier.
It
went down to
did.
3
It
HP.
did. It went out to
And
3
in
HP.
the same turn, it healed 9 to go back up to 12. Insanity. Like, I can't really put it any other way aside from that. It is just that good.
I mean, when you're playing those kind of control matchups, because don't get me wrong, like even when I'm playing other control decks with even Anivia, there are many times I am going down to 1, I am going down to 3, and it's really just that healing that's like, okay, I heal for just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and I'm surviving and reaching to that win con. And in terms of Karma obviously can heal a lot better than other control decks because she doubles everything, right? That's suddenly 6 healing that you're getting off of Withering Wail, which is excellent. You know, Total ended up playing that matchup extremely well. The board was looking scary at some point. We ended up getting Shelly's down. We were waiting patiently for those answers to make sure that we're able to remove it. Because mind you, Shelly can't buff itself. The real combo is when you're able to get 2 Shellys on board. Because now they're buffing each other. Suddenly they're outside the box range. Suddenly it's like, okay, I really need some hard removal right now. I need the vengeance, or even just vengeance. Because once they're buffed up, it's a wrap.
That pokey stick drawn to double portal as well. While boxing on the stack.
That hurt.
Oh, so painful, man.
It happens though. It happens though. Oh man, if that was like, if there was any turn to use the box, it was that one. Mind you, you could have burnt the Bilgewater Tailstones just to get the buff. Not sure if that's really worth it, because that can give you an overwhelm unit that you might be able to buff later on, or B, even a rally. Because remember, a Playful Trickster, it will remove a unit from from battle, and then it will force a rally. So you could get like a little cheeky elusive victory if you have more elusives on board, getting those rallies in.
It's possible. It's possible if you're able to find it.
Ooh, looky here.
Match. Couple of rounds.
Is this the combo?
Boy. This is the combo.
You know what that means.
Hey, samsans, you might have healing and stuff, but Seraphine's leveled. Smear's on board. They double drew with Legionary Charge to get 2 Plaza Guardians. So, how are you blocking that? What's your plan?
I mean, is Smear gonna level? Yes, she is gonna level.
Yep.
Do we end up shooting her again?
I mean, heck, I think you have to, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna do a rally.
Holy smokes, dude.
I mean, shoot, more than 3. We have Area of Improvement. That's another 2.
That it is.
Here we go.
Just how I like it.
It's turn 7, by the way. I don't know if I said that earlier, but it is turn 7. Also, I find it really funny that Danwind's hand. Hold on, can you shut off the second hand preview for a second? Look, see on the far right, like 3 of those card backs are like the default card back. I just thought that was funny. Okay, we can bring it back now.
I can't stand you.
I just had to point that out. That was a funny little visual bug. But the not so funny visual bug is the fact that Plaza Guardians are now 0 mana, and they're being copied out by Iterative Improvement twice, by the way, because of the Seraphine level.
There we go.
Yeah, Samsans knows. It's over.
That's immediately it. It's a wrap.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't see the timer on that. I'm not sure what game that is.
Ooh, me neither. I wasn't looking.
I'm hoping it's game 1 or game 2.
The combo. Now, Samsans knew in the end of that round that they were a side order. They were a whole order of Dunyan rings right there. They wanted to get out of that match because as soon as you see that Samir level up, which is very fast because it's facilitated by the Seraphine and that play to cast change ages ago, you fall behind pretty much immediately. And that is unfortunately what ended up happening for Samsans in the Victor Aphelios matchup, losing out to Plaza Guardians because they just turned 7. Okay, my Seraphine's leveled up. I now have a set of I have 3/6/6 and 2/7/7 Plaza Guardians on board.
Game 2. That was game 1.
That was game 1. Okay, cool. We have game 2. Let's go. We get into the matchup.
I was curious to see what was the ban on Samsam's side, because Dan ended up bringing Karma Set, Rise, Samira Seraphine. The ban ended up being Rise, which I respect it. Like, that's a hard lineup.
Yeah.
That's a hard lineup. Yeah, that's a toughie. I'm not really sure where I would have gone with Dan. I feel like I'm inclined to go with Seraphine, but here's the thing with Seraphine: she'll kill me faster than Rise will. And I feel like with Rise, I feel like it's almost like they're drip feeding you the victory, and then Rise just like, no, that's mine, thank you. I'm gonna just take that real quick. And it just it's so painful when you reach like that, the later turns, just like I'm still fighting it out because there's all these stuns and recalls, the shards, whatever it may have you. And this matchup, Karma Set versus Piltover Targon. I want to say that we're probably inclined to get that Glorious Evolution off. We don't have Acorn, so not able to reduce the cost, so we do have to wait until we get 10 mana. if anything, the Celestials might be incredibly good if we're able to get a spell shoot elusive Celestial, or even get a white board and we get the Scourge going.
This match has a lot riding on for samsans, by the way. Because if samsans loses this again, they're going to get 3rd place again. Or 4th place, but
Yeah.
the highest they can get is 3rd place. Because this is the match, the semifinals, right before the finals
Yeah,
here.
this is the semifinals before we go into finals.
Play for 3rd place again. And samsans probably wants to break that streak and go into the finals themselves.
This is
Danwind-
Samson's doing it. I believe
Danwind
Samson.
has had an incredible streak to get this far. They beat Fogasinia in the first round, or the second round, had a bye in the first round. Round 3, took down Amphitryo. Round 4, which we just saw, took down Void. These are some very, very strong players that we're seeing Danwind take down in these last few rounds. And now facing up against samsans, who, well, is down 1 match. Danwind winning that out with the Plaza Guardians combo. And Karma Set might just be an additional answer to whatever samsans is bringing here.
So we're gonna go get head removed. See, I feel like Zoe is just like, yeah, she'll come out. It's nice to have her as a 1-0. She can give you some value if she stays on the field. Against this matchup, we already know how difficult that is when you have Shadow Owls running Vile Feast and Quietus. I like this. The Vile Feast gonna go ahead and prepare the Withering Wail in case we need it. I don't think we ever swing with the 3-3. I feel like we're just gonna continuously let that stack. But the issue is, I feel like with this deck, right, if you're not getting Victor on 4, or even Aphelios, them coming in later is a little bit harder to have to manage, especially when later on late is where your opponent wants to go. Danwind is looking to get to round 10. So the longer we take to get there, or at least to get our game plan rolling, that's gonna be really tricky to have to deal with a leveled up Karma. Mind you, leveled up Karma isn't necessarily death, right? You can beat a leveled up Karma. It's just hard as hell, and you really need the cards. So I'm hoping to see, what's the earliest turn that we can play Glorious Evolution? What?
7 right now.
7, okay.
Withering Wail played after the fact is interesting because it means that now when the Ceaseless Sentry attacks, both of the units that samsans can block with die to it. And so it's actually a free 2 damage, even a free 3 damage, because the second Withering Wail is in hand for samsans to consider. And so going down to 13 HP, sure, you may not have the kind of mid-range capabilities that a lot of other decks have playing Karma Set, but that still doesn't mean that your damage can be totally disrespected. Points of damage are very important here. And if you can get a set on board, or if you can even get that leveled Karma on board and have this wide board potentially with a Rekindler later on, there are so many options available for Danwind to even have potentially a wide enough board to keep chipping in for that damage that they need to defeat Victor Aphelios again this evening. But
I really hope we can. I really want to see this Glorious Evolution pop off.
Could, but you have to remember you're playing against Ionia.
Oh man, oh man. Alright, Pale Cascade's not what we're looking for. We really want our champions. Here we go. Throwing it. We have
Rips it.
We have Deep Meditation. Can we find the deny? Are we gonna bother looking for it? Is it worth looking for? I feel like it is.
I think it is, because this is a... for it. Maybe Danwind probably considers that they have enough answers, you know, the double concussive palm, the vengeance, the withering wail, even a tag out, to keep the units off their back for as long as they physically need to delay until turn 10. Hence the reason why they're not too concerned about playing a whole lot here. Preemptively stunning the Trickster here, by the way.
Okay.
Just to make sure. A little bit of a ping out from samsans just to finish the round. In fact, it'll be 2 pings.
It's going. It's stacking, right? We're very close to HP. Only 1 HP off. 13 to 14. These ballista box are gonna keep on going. You can let them sit, but mind you, you keep letting them sit. Look, they're gonna keep dealing that damage, and you at some point you will run out of healing. We don't have our champions on either side, mind you. So Dan is really looking for a set. I mean, at this point in the game, it's not likely Karma.
And putting things at 1 HP is... Ouch.
Oh, just taking it.
We do have star shaping, so we're not too threatened by that, thankfully, for samsans. But Danwind just applying pressure where they can. Now, without champions in hand, because neither set nor combat have shown up so far, and you don't really have any natural draw outside of deep med to thin your deck out.
Place your bets, okay.
We'll have to be finding these late game answers sooner rather than later. Ideally next turn.
Ooh, gonna go ahead and heal the elusive unit. I like it. It's very risky because you know that there are answers. You don't have to worry about the box. You don't have to worry about Withering Rails, who have already been used. So all you have to really do is worry about the vengeance. And it does end up getting the Great Beyond. The crazy thing is, if we end up vengeing this elusive, this Great Beyond is gonna be able to get in for free, right? We can recall it, sure. Now we have to make a decision. Is it the Great Beyond or is it the 10 elusive? Our opponent's swinging wider than us. Access to 3 Pale Cascades, mind you, even burn.
Yep. Burn is available. Could play the box into vengeance to kill the Great Beyond here this turn. But that does leave you vulnerable to a swing from the Trickster, actually.
You'd have to stun, no? Or would we not have enough mana? 6?
Stun.
No, we need 14 mana to do it.
It's physically impossible. Wait, isn't it just impossible to prevent lethal then?
Is it?
It is. Triple Pale Cascade.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think you're right.
Match.
samsans playing it patiently. Gonna go ahead and keep stacking damage. Our opponent hasn't tried to remove any of our units just yet.
No healing either from Danwind. That is the most important thing to note.
Yeah.
There is no healing.
Oh, here we go.
Goes here.
We tapped out. We have to kill something.
Rips
Have
the
coin.
stun. But triple pale into a mystic shot. Or a time trick even, because everything is created by Glorious Evolution now, will give samsans the win here. I don't see a way that Danwind can combine any sort of spells to prevent lethal off of the Glorious Evolution swing here. Just because
here we
of
go.
that spell shield on the Great Beyond to give them the win over a Karma set.
13, we can get excited. Oh, went with the Mystic Shot.
Going out with a little bit of style, you know?
Oh man, there it goes. That's it.
Get you for exact lethal.
Wow.
Zero combination of spells good to help Danwind there. I think Danwind had a turn where they passed and burned a ton of mana, right? And I think that maybe throwing a vengeance earlier on at the at one of these elusives, specifically the Trickster, might have been the play.
I can see it. I understand it, because I feel like the moment that you see Star Shifting come out, we'll have to go back and look. We'll definitely have to go back and look, because there is a point where you have to take that into consideration if you're playing against target. Okay, this does run Star Shaping. Those units are pretty big and powerful, and if it's A, the elusive that you need to kill twice, or B, the Great Beyond that has Spell Shield and elusive, it's like, okay. So you kind of have to like play ahead of time and acknowledge, okay, this is my opponent's game plan. They pop Glorious Evolution already, so I do have to, like, I can block everything else. I can't block this elusive. This elusive has to go. And it may be just playing a little bit maybe too far but too back, too reactive rather than proactive. That may have cost the end of the game there. Definitely have to go back and look at that VOD. Regardless, that was tight. Like it one decision, 2 decisions here and there could have really flipped it on the head. But now that means that we are going to go to a game 3, Dan versus samsans. We're going to see who's going to end up going into the finals. Whew, this is tough. I mean, now what does samsans have to play? Because we play Targon. So what? Jax Ornn? I'm assuming that Samira Seraphine was banned.
Yeah, to not have the Plaza Guardians mirror. Awesome.
Plaza Guardians mirror would be disgusting. That must be a nightmare of a mirror to play.
It'd be so nerve-wracking, man. Be like, oh, I have to find my exact combo right now, or they'll find theirs first. It's just a matter of finding that finisher and finding the Plaza Guardians and stuff. I don't even know how you play that mirror. That is a mystery to me.
I mean, probably disintegrate. Maybe you need disintegrate. You need pirouette. You need to get a stun. Because it's basically whoever gets the combo off first is the one that probably wins. Because if it wasn't for the fact they didn't have quick attack, because you can't trade them. So the moment they're swinging, it's like, yeah, whatever you're putting in front of this is dying. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably whoever can proc it first. I can't think of any other way to beat that matchup.
Disintegrate's a good call. Sputtering Song Spinner hits might also be something that saves you the game. Because that can potentially get you delay to find your combo faster and get you a bunch of other spells to reduce your Plaza Guardians faster. So that might be the breaking point, is who can find Sputtering Song Spinner, who can use it faster to better efficacy. Because funny enough, both decks really want to target units to get their spells out. Like some of them are Mystic Shot, Pirouette. You even are incentivized to play the Jury Rig to get a blocker out in case there's something that you need to block. Like Samira and all of that to prevent the damage to face. So there are things that you are playing specifically to counter units, and so if you can find Sputtering Song Spinner early and get better hits off of it, that might be.
I think that is the key.
Breakpoint
like
is.
I've been reading like kind of like little guides on here and there, and been watching people play, and they say like if you're against a deck that can't really that you're gonna be safe on what I believe turn 5, 6, 7, 5. Just rip the Sputtering, and you're gonna go ahead and expedite that level up onto if Seraphine's on board. If Samira's on board on Samira, but then just in general Seraphine, given Seraphine levels in the deck. So it's definitely, I think, revolving around that.
It looks like that was game 3, by the way, between those two, of Danwind versus samsans. Dude, Danwind was playing this so well. I think they've played this tournament extremely well. I don't know if I've seen them in tournaments before. They've come
a few times into our tournaments.
I think maybe once. My old man memory.
We both have old man memories, so don't ask me to refresh it because I have to go back.
Elite, tell me of the time.
Listen, I'll really know.
Who won last week? Was that Mega Peros again, or was it Trustiano? I can't remember.
Anyway,
we had a tournament last week. Oh, what happened?
That was 7 days ago. Damn.
I'm done. But samsans, hold up. Samsans is in the finals. Let's go. Look into already broke it. Broke the third place streak. Listen, was it the streamer buff? Streamer buff? Question mark?
Streamer buff? I mean, that is what was that? Was it like Amphitrio or Trust that said that to us one week? It was like, hey, thanks for the streamer buff.
It's the streamer buff, baby. No, not at all. samsans is playing gloriously, literally.
Wow, all right, I see what you did there. I'll accept that pun. That was good.
Oh man. All right, let's go. Let's take a look, right? Because samsans is now versus Total. Let's check out these decks real quick. So
I think Total was also running a similar idea in a more control. I mean, of course, there's Samira Seraphine, so that's going to be the mirror offered there.
Absolutely.
Ornn Trundle to beat Jax Ornn, and then Karma Set to have that kind of really strong control option. Versus what we've already seen samsans running, which is also Jax Ornn, which loses to Trundle, which is not good. Aphelios Victor Zoe, which is hairy depending on the cards that you can get. It was exactly against that Karma Set matchup that we saw last round. Was exactly finding the Great Beyond and Glorious Evolution and the Trickster, the elusive, in order to push that damage through.
Like, that's just so insane that like it was such a specific like combo of cards that really stacked up. Like a Deny would have shut that down. The Deny Glorious Evolution is huge. It's a wrap. Okay, you just don't win. Like you're gonna have to take you're gonna need multiple strikes with the Great Beyond, and at that rate, the spell shoot is going to be popped. Sure, it gets one strike in, it gets recalled on the next attack token. You keep going, mind you. Like you can only do that so many times, and by recalling it, you are effectively putting the spell shield back onto it. So again, that's kind of tricky, and I think that's the thing about Ionia. When you recall things, they are just back at its base. So truth be told, you would have to. It would have to be the vengeance onto that and nothing else. You have to.
I
just
think that was the
completely get it out.
turn because Danwind had 9 mana, 10 mana, something around there. With the unprepped, the unflowed deep med in hand. 5 mana draws, you still have 5 or 6 mana, I can't remember exactly, left over to have for that deny available. That turns that entire game on its head. But if you're not denying the Glorious Evolution, then you play on the board, you think, okay, if I'm running into another elusive spell, I can't be burning this mana, and I have to kill the elusive unit. I think like leaving that up in that scenario when you know that a Glorious Evo is coming down and you can just kind of dump spells is a bit of an oversight for Danwind. It's such a weird call to make because you don't think like this 3 mana elusive, I can deal with them. But then when you put it with a spell shield elusive on top of that, that's where you start to really fall behind in the matchup and end up regretting losing out on that spell shield. I think that playing a little more proactively in that sense would have been better and would have actually seen a different result out of Danwind and delayed the game further, possibly even to a win extent to eventually find their champions, which they never did.
I feel like as a control player, I understand not doing it because I'm inclined to always react when it's like, okay, I now need to do it, right? Saving those resources, being sure to use them at the right moment. But it's a dynamic you have to get used to when playing control, understanding when I can wait, I'm fine. I just, I'm in control versus where, okay, if I want to retain, like keep my control, I need to be proactive. I need to start just hitting things off the rip without second guessing myself and be like, can I wait? Should I wait? It's not a danger now. And I feel like once you see a card like Glorious Evolution come up, remember, understanding what it does. Everything's created, everything gets buffed no matter what's played. Okay, so now everything's a threat. Now the only thing I'm worried about is keywords. Okay. Victor's not on board. I don't really have to worry about that, amalgamation of keywords, whether or not he gets elusive or overwhelmed. So then the only other dangers are A, another elusive unit, or B, an overwhelm unit of some sort. And at that rate, if they don't get it, it's good to go.
It's kind of like you have to play a round ahead of time. Yeah. But I've cut off your intro, so go drop us in. Tell us what we're seeing.
Listen, gonna go ahead and see samsans and Total in the finals. It's gonna be Jax Orn versus. Oh, this is the matchup. Trundle Orn.
Yeah, Trundle Orn wins this. Just on a statistic level. Not saying that it's a guaranteed win, but here is timelines on 2. The combo that we're always dreading whenever we're playing against this deck. Samsans does get in for 5 damage. But 5 damage is only a start. It's not something that's going to be finishing the match right away. It's going to be a race to see who can, I guess, like clobber their opponent first.
Yeah, we're beating them. That's it. We're making our beat sticks big and we're hitting them. Only 2
nope. Very nice in hand for Total, but it doesn't matter right now. It will later.
Now, I will say this, that Samson's interaction, I want to say it is better than Total's, because we're only running a Troll Chant, Battle's Breath, Buried in Ice, and then 3 a Mystic Shot, while Samson's now is able to challenge a unit if need be. Fish Fight. I like the one-off Wild of Ferocity. You can just make something overwhelm really quickly at focus speed.
Yep.
Oh, look at this unit, 5/3. Oh, never mind, 5/3. Oh, that hurts.
Jeopardy question. What's the name of that unit? It's Solitary Monk.
I know what it does. It freaking recalls everything. Solitary Monk. I have to think about it. The AI plays it.
Yep. AI does indeed play it. But the other thing that I know it for is because it was really used a lot in those Ari decks back in the day too.
Yes,
and that was another thing that was used for. Jax getting a level up on turn 4 is really good for samsans. Already off to the races. And as far as I know from
That's
what I saw
second
from
hand now
Total's hand
available.
before, I didn't see any Buried in Ice in Total's hand, so that blowout possibility is not available right now. But they do
Ooh,
draw
there
into
goes
it
the-
with the Augmented Clockling.
Are we gonna have time though?
Are we gonna have time?
Because we have look at what's on board. We have
Oh,
2
man.
overwhelm units right now. No interaction to deal with it. Like Mystic Shot would deal with this, but mind you, we're using this. This is gonna pass priority over, and I am inclined to believe the Samsans is gonna heal the Jax.
I'd have to agree with you there. The greedy play would be to go for the Orin Forge Bellows Breath thing. That would be an option. Mage Seeker and Cider most likely picked here. That would, yep, that makes sense to me.
Yep, there it goes. There goes the heal. Look at this, a 7/6. Total doesn't have the option to deal with this at all. If anything, maybe shoot the Fort 2, get that off. I mean, that passes the overwhelm over to another unit.
It does make it so that samsans has to play an extra action to give the overwhelm, which is good for Total. Removing this is fine. Jack swings in for an 8/7. Could even potentially get Troll Cannon to reduce that overwhelm damage. So I don't think that this board, now that we've got that Mystic Shot off and been able to cycle the overwhelm, is all that threatening until now. This is a lot of damage because now Jax becomes a 9/8 with overwhelm thanks to that second equipped unit. And can pull with the Intransic Lure.
Trundle's a 4/6 now. We can do Troll Chance and make him 8. Reduce 2 damage of 1. But we're gonna get a challenge here. Can we give challenger to anything? Hold up.
Yeah.
Okay,
You give
so it's
Challenger to
anything.
anything, but the benefit is if you
Okay.
give it to an equipped unit, it draws 1.
Okay. I'd be inclined to. Yup.
Trundle?
Draw it. Challenge it.
Magic stops with me.
That's lethal.
It's not yet. Troll Chant keeps us
Troll
off
Chant, okay.
lethal for 4 HP, down to 4.
Oh my gosh, it's so close to lethal. Jax is just taking this game away.
Surprised
9.
we use Troll Chant that way. Keeping the unit alive, I guess. If Bellows Breath worked the way that it used to, I think that would be a bad idea. But I would have gone buff the Mage Seeker Insider to then also debuff
Hold
the
up.
Jax to save 4 HP there.
Oh my gosh, Ornn is leveled.
Yes,
Ornn
he
is
is.
leveled. We don't have enough mana for. This next swing, Santan's next swing is about to be vicious.
I think what Total's going to do here is play the weapon onto Mage Seeker Insider and heal it or forge it with the Hearthblood Mender,
To heal up, okay.
which is probably their whole turn. But they play Favored and Artisan anyway, and I can just...
Mountain Gold, Spiring, Disciplinadoran.
There are stories in the ringing.
Yeah, just keeping health up, right?
Yeah, I
Don't want to worry about Overwhelm.
I'm inclined to go with the line that you had mentioned, because at 5 mana there are units that can challenge.
So good I named it.
So it is possible that we can drag the Jax, or we can even drag the 6/1. But right here, right now, Ornn is here, and we know this open swing. We are about to get the entire Ram. I wish the Ram came with his old sound. I feel like that would have been a really cool addition.
Yeah. Here comes my molten friend.
Here we go. Look at it.
Here it is. No
Oh
frostbites.
my gosh. No frostbites. And like that's just something that's been a very interesting thing to do when you're running Freljord without frostbites. And we've been seeing it in all of the decks that have been running Freljord, whether it be the Trundle variants or it's Jax. They're just not running frostbite. I feel like people are sleeping on it. I haven't seen even the deck list. I don't see any frostbite. Maybe a 1 of 3 sisters. 1 of 3 sisters. 3 sisters is a great card, but we're versus some decks that have some high power units. Let's get some flash freezes. Let's get some harsh winds. Oh, but I wouldn't be surprised if come this open we start seeing these decks running frostbites.
Yeah, I'm looking at Total's Trundle Ornn list right now, and I'm trying to think of like what units or spells you cut though to put in a frostbite. Like,
That's the hard part.
Do you cut out Favored Artisan?
I don't know.
Do you cut out like Combat Cook? Every single unit in this deck. Maybe you cut out Ithas Chairs. I don't know. But every single card that you have in this deck feels like it could just. It fits perfectly. You can't really fit a Frostbite because it's not winning you the game. It's just delaying your own defeat for a turn. You can Frostbite those Plaza Guardians, and they're still on board anyway. Like there's so much interplay going on there. But maybe having one of Harsh Winds in exchange for a Favored Artisan on 2 would be the sacrifice necessary to make, because you're already playing concurrent timelines on 2, so it's not really the same kind of curve that you want to have. I don't know. There's a lot of like theory crafting.
There is. It is a lot of theory crafting into it.
But it's not the matchup we're looking at now. Samsans is bringing out the Victor Felius against Karma set with SI. We saw this matchup happen earlier.
We did indeed.
Rip here once again.
Now, hold up. How much draw does Samsans have? I need to look at this, because if there's anything I dislike is a deck that without draw. But sometimes I have to be honest. I make my deck sometimes with too much draw, and that's like literally all I'm drawing. And I'm like, okay, hold up. I may have went a little overboard.
Might have gone a little overzealous with this one.
I like having cards. I like having cards. We do have I think Pale Cascade and Time Trick. Those are the 2 cycle cards. Oh, along with Augmented Clockling.
You do have Piltover and Telstones if you're really desperate for a progress day.
True, progress day.
But are you? Perhaps. Perhaps not.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty sparkle fly.
And there's another piece of draw. The Messenger found from the hands of the Spaces Sketcher.
I like it. I like it. Gotta feel this. Look at this hand. Double, triple. Hold up. Double Concussive Bone. Triple Tag Out. Ooh, we found Glorious Evolution.
Yeah, that's not gonna. There's no Deny in hand this time either.
Do we go with Crescendum? Plan to go with,
I think we knew.
Yeah, get another unit on board. We can play it right now, even. Shoot. Go ahead and swing as wide as possible.
Is running exactly 1 Uno Deny. Like,
What?
Really? Single copy of Deny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So oof. I mean, I guess. Do you think Deny is even important in this meta?
If you're worried about Buried and Ice, if you're worried about Glorious Evolution, like these really big spells, if you're worried about Field of Rush, maybe, yeah. But how often have you seen that versus Samira Seraphine, who just runs underneath of Deny anyway, and has burst speed spells and fast speed spells and is duplicating them left and right? I think that sometimes Notify and Deny can really be detrimental, because it's like, okay, well, I put this card in here that only serves to keep one thing alive, like protect a unit from a soul harvest or something.
Yeah,
it's not entirely beneficial to keep it up. Total also did flash the Notify at the Crescendo that was played last round, and they are heavily considering it again. Instead, we'll use the tag out to get the stun back. No stun available for the rest of this turn.
Okay, we have Vengeance though.
That we do. Sad Moon Boy is riddled full of spears, more at 11. Exactly what Vengeance is. It's just like it's a Callista card, right? You have the Spirit of Vengeance throwing spears at people.
Yeah, actually,
getting your vengeance to kill
you.
You
have me curious. I'm about to go look at it. Yeah, the betrayed invoked of Callista on their dying breath, hoping her spear brings them vengeance.
Look at me knowing my
lore.
Dude, I may not be a great player, but darn do I know my card information.
Setting wants to block. Okay. Blocks the most damage. At 11, this is this is spooky. Like, this is game 2. Samsans already has 1 win under their belt. Star shaping. There's no deny. This Glorious Evolution is about to come down.
And also this time, unlike the match we saw with Danwind, there is no. In fact, they're not even running copies of Deep Med. Passes? Wow, gonna pass for the damage anyway, because Get Excited is gonna be enough. Withering Wail is available. Conch Palm is here to block 1. You have Concussive Palm number 2 to block 2 units. And so this damage doesn't go through fully, but it is 5 to face.
And look, we're below deny mana. Now we can safely do it. We have confidence. Yep, there it goes. There it goes.
Have you ever considered joining the Glorious Evolution? This Victor guy keeps talking about it.
Listen, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I could use a different body part. Let me get a robot arm.
You know, like, if you get robot legs, your legs will never hurt again.
True. No more bad knees. Hold up.
Oh, my hips are fixed because they're not made of bone.
And look at this. The Shock Blast immediately coming out. Understanding if they didn't have Deny last turn, they most likely don't have it this turn. But we do have Tag Out, so we are going to be able to save our karma.
We have Tag Out, we have Withering Wail, so neither one of those options is... I mean, neither one of the burn options that Samsans has is available for lethal. And the Withering Wail right now, I mean, I know that you see all those units on the right-hand side of Samsans' board. They are gone this round. Now, it's just a matter of sequencing here. What does Total do? Do they lose the karma to potentially play...
Gosh, here's the thing though, like if you're on Total side, you have to take in consideration, I am going on 3 HP against Piltover. Get Excited is a thing.
Oh, because they're playing...
Oh.
Oh.
Save mana for the Notify.
Yep, that's right. Okay, I was gonna say... the Notify coming in clutch here. I was gonna say, like, why would you drop below Withering Wail mana? And then I forgot that Novify can actually do a little bit more than that.
Look.
But Getix, oh.
Because of Glorious Evolution, it's the cost is reduced. 0 mana to 2 mana.
Karma's death was not exaggerated. In fact, she is just down on the floor. Actually, next turn, Total can full block what Samsans has on board and hit the Withering Wail. They don't even know this is happening. But
getting rid of the karma is so huge, though.
It really is, and getting rid of it after the. Oh man, that is just brutal.
This is stalling. This is stalling.
Brutal.
I mean, look, we do have Star Shaping, so we can start finding a really big finish. We even just need our burn. Truth be told, that's really it.
Matter of finding it. We did use 1 Get Excited, but we have 2 more in the deck. Mystic Shot's also a 3 of. We have Ballistic Bots, which we haven't seen at all this game, that can go to face. There are options available of finding the place your bets and also having that elusive blocker in the form of the Scattered Pod, which is a card I feel like I haven't seen at all since Karma Go Hard days kind of deal.
I mean, even Lee Sin and Zoe was running it at some points because they wanted to reliably draw Zenith Blade along with any of the other interaction they may need.
That it did.
You do see it in Karma. Go Hard. Usually when they're running Go Hard, it's usually only Go Hard as the slow spell and maybe 1 Ruination. That way you can always guarantee it.
Funny enough, the longer that this Glorious Evolution is allowed to exist, the further out of reach that this Soul Harvest becomes. There's just nothing that it's going to be hitting for a very long time. Oh, wow. And a burn unit is found.
Yo, look at this board just refilled.
Oh, my God.
And they're all threats. They're all threats.
You know what else is a threat? The Messenger. Draws you a card. Can get you that Sunburst to remove the Scattered Pod if you really wanted to.
Oh, there's the Deny.
More importantly, could be used to define... Oh, yep, Deny is pretty good.
Where they still can cuss it palm. Getting our interaction, not quite what we need. We're looking for another Withering Wheel. We have 3 units at 1 HP that we need to get rid of.
I think
Vengeance
Yep.
out.
So you do have vengeance.
The Scourge!
Oh.
Do we take the Scourge? We do. We have just enough mana for it. That's a 12-10 with overall. I'm about to get the craziest swing ever. Withering Whale does not do it anymore.
Unworthy Soul, Concussive Palm.
Open swing. Negative 49. This is the final. Samsons has 1 victory already.
Hold on.
Can we stop this? Can we stop this? I don't
No,
think we can.
we don't. We don't stop this because a stun and a recall isn't enough here. You are using 9 mana to do that.
There it goes.
just
And that's
lethal.
the finals. Lethal. Samsons got it. First place victory. After playing in many of our tournaments, consistently making top 4, but just shy of the victory, Samsons finally steals it away. Wow.
That was close.
It was.
Whew.
And like,
Man,
the total saw the play to get the karma back. It was just the fact that Glorious Evolution, right? It reduces the cost of everything. Now you have to. There are all these cards that you know that can remove it. You have to take them in consideration. It's like it's so many, right? And just man, we really saw the power there. Because I'm wondering, like, how does like I'm gonna be real. I was looking at something like I was like, how do we end up finishing? Like if we don't get Glorious Evolution online, I mean that seems like a side victory, but in this case, it's been the major victory more than once in a row. Oh my gosh, what a set of games. Really, really well done.
extremely well done. The Glorious Evolution, like waiting for the turn where they tap below deny mana, even though Total never had deny. Samsans knew I have 1 of Glorious Evolution, they have 1 of deny. If I can confirm in some way that Total doesn't have deny available, I will be able to play Glorious Evolution. I think that might have been something that Total could have tried to read into. Was like, oh, I shouldn't tap below 4 mana because that means that, and because of that pass that Samsans had the last turn, that means they have to have Glorious Evolution in hand. I think there could have been a different read on the way that Samsans was playing that specifically, but really, I think at a certain point, Total was really just playing to keep themselves alive because they didn't have champions on board.
Yeah.
They didn't have a set at all in that match. They wanted to try and have answers and keep stalling and delaying their way out. And so that Glorious Evolution comes down, and suddenly that board actually manifests the main issue that Karma Set does run into quite often. We've seen Demacia Elites, for example, is a really good deck that has been beating Karma Set in prior competitions. And that's because it's like a bunch of really low cost units that can just beat you in with a ton of attack stats. And that's what Victor Aphelios technically does when it gets Glorious Evolution, because you're running 3 of Fallen Feline, 3 of Lunari Dustbringer, 2 of Spacey Sketcher, all 1 mana units that can get Omega buffed by just playing a bunch of spells under Glorious Evolution. And yeah, that's where I think the win came from.
Mind you, even before that, we had the board and we were just swinging. Samsons did not care. He's like, okay, you're not going to play anything. I'm going to keep swinging. Because that is going to force you to put something out. Give me your answers. Eventually, I will. You have to, right? And that's the thing about having these decks that kind of like just simply go wide, right? Withering Whale is a thing, cost for mana. It was seen to be able to get the board. But in that deck specifically, that's kind of really the only answer. Everything else is like, I'm more so looking to deal with something big, like an Ornn, like a Trundle. You know, I get to recall it, make them waste all the mana they spent playing it. In this case, when you have a bunch of 1 mana units, or even ones that have now suddenly become free, it's like, oh, this is suddenly like incredibly difficult to deal with. But wow, just well played. We really see the power of Glorious Evolution and how that, at least that specific matchup goes. And mind you, what are the stats on the Karma versus Victor? Remind me.
Karma Set is a 40-60 for Aphelios Victor on average. So it's actually a losing matchup for the Victor side, the Aphelios Victor side. And Samsans won that against Danwind, against Total Master. 2 different rounds in a row, taking that positive matchup. And I think the reason why, and I'll probably ask them in this if we can get an interview with Samsans, is the reason why I think that they were able to win that was because of the mix of cards they brought. There are so many different interpretations of Aphelios Victor
Oh,
in
so
terms
many,
of the
so
flexible
many.
slots that you have. And samsans's version just seems like it was able to try and find these alternate win cons in the late game. Instead of trying to be board based, instead of trying to be really interactive, it was like, okay, I got to find an evoke card that really wins me the game. And that happened 2 games in a row because
Yeah.
you know that you can win with the
Yeah.
Surge. You know that you can win with the Great Beyond. So,
All right, Samson's gonna come in for an interview. Bring him in. Bring him in. It's Samson's ear.
What's up?
How's
you
it
made it.
going?
It's good. I'm glad I'm not third again.
Yeah. I did mention that when you were down against Danwind, I was like, there's a lot riding on these matches here. If Samsans loses this, it could be potential for another 3rd place finish. But congratulations on getting the championship this time around.
Absolute congratulations. We-
Fortunately, I didn't have deny, and neither did total. So
Yeah.
Listen, no deny. A-okay to play that Glorious Evolution. That's all you needed, and like that's actually kind of like the first game that you were playing against Total. You actually kind of needed that. Like if it wasn't for that and having the Pale Cascade so that you can start dipping, expand English, heightening the power of your elusive units. It would have been tough because there were answers. There were answers in Total's hand.
I definitely lose both of those games 100% if they have deny, but they only play one. And like obviously I recognize that I'm not going to win if the G doesn't resolve, so I just slammed it both times and they didn't have an answer either time, and that's pretty good. Against Total, like in the finals, it was better because they passed into me on 10 mana for some reason, so I got to open, and they have to spend mana on the open, so it's a lot safer there.
Yes.
But they still could have coined into deny if they had it, so like I was still losing to deny, sort of.
Yeah, but at that point, just taking the open is just better because you already had units on board. You already were dealing damage. You're suddenly getting them very low, and now it's becoming a more scary situation to have to deal with on Total side. And it's like, okay, now I have to dump everything to try to delay all this damage until I maybe get some answers. Right? They didn't really have any blockers at all until like a little bit later. And that whole play with the karma, end up getting the karma back. Glorious Evolution allowed you to be like, she gotta go. Because if it wasn't for Glorious Evolution there, like having that discounted Aftershock, she would have did some damage, some serious damage on board.
Yeah, I misplayed there because I didn't know he played Notify in his deck, so I thought the G was just always resolving. But if I looked at the deck list, I could just like Aftershock the Karma first, and he has to Notify it, and then I G face and the game ends. So I gave him an extra turn for no reason, but it's still fine.
Yeah, it still worked out. Now, talk to me about your lineup. Is this a lineup that you're thinking about bringing to the Open? Is this what you've kind of like solidified in, or were you kind of just testing it in this tournament currently?
I played it in the last Open. I went 9.
Oh, okay.
So it's like good for me there. I just played it again.
Proven.
Now, remind me, you had made top cut, correct?
Yeah, I lost in top 64.
Top 64. Shoot, you still made it to top 64. That's a whole accomplishment in itself.
Yeah,
undeniably. So, Samsons, I also want to ask you about your flavor of the Aphelios Victor, because as you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can play this deck. You can play it with the Submersible. There's like a variant that I'm looking at right now that plays like 3 copies of Get Excited, 2 copies of Blowback, your Boom Baboon Submersible, burning your opponent out with a mid-range kind of list. And there's other ones with Winding Light. And then you have the one that you're doing with the Zoe that plays with this more, I would say, like an alternate win con kind of finisher. I want to know, like, the reason for your specific mix of Aphelios Victor.
I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it, I think. Yeah, I played a different version in the Open, and honestly, like every version felt pretty mediocre. This also felt pretty mediocre. I just don't think the deck is very good.
Fair enough.
It's like there isn't really a good third deck, and so I just played this one because I hadn't played it yet, and it was fine. Obviously, not anything special, I think. And I definitely think that like a lot of the games that I won, and I know you guys saw a lot of them, were like kind of crystal shenanigans. Like the game against Bandle Timelines, I like blind drew a crystal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
You hit that with the swiftness. You just machine gunned that full board. I was like, yo, without hesitation.
Yeah, it's because it was lethal. After I play the Dusk Pedal, the Victor goes to 8, and then I play G, so he dies. He dies. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like a lot of the time, Crystal was like basically just Mystic Shot. Like against Easy to win. Like I could hit any burn and it wins. It's just
Yeah.
like unfortunate that it's Crystal, I guess. But yeah, I think it was fine. Nothing special.
I mean, shoot. If it wins you games, it wins you games. That's about it. I mean, now talk to me about Samira Seraphine. What are your thoughts on this deck in particular? Because I know everyone's been saying that this is probably the top deck of the format alongside Rise.
Yeah, bring it, ban it. The deck is unbelievably broken.
Bring it, ban it. That's it. No questions asked.
Yeah, I had to leave it up against Danwind because otherwise I thought I couldn't get Ornn through. Because Ornn is bad against Rise and Karma, but I just won Ornn versus Karma, so it didn't matter. But yeah, typically, like I think that you should just be banning Samira Seraphine. It has no bad matchups. It's just like unbelievably broken.
Yeah, it honestly does seem so. Yeah,
It's overperforming as a deck. It's kind of ridiculous.
surprised to not have seen like a hotfix for it, but I mean, hey, there's rumors or like based off the time frame, there's an inclination that the next expansion is going to be next week Wednesday. So we'll just have to see if that happens. I don't think it is because normally they announce champions, but it should be approaching. It's oncoming. I think actually not next week. I believe it's the
definitely
30th.
another expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like hopefully they'll like nerf this shit into the ground.
I hope so.
I mean, sure, we'll see. Either Plaza Guardian is getting nerfed, or it's gonna be one of the champs that we've just been seeing have been menaces over patch, over patch, over patch. Well,
yeah.
Oh man. But thank you for coming on, samsans. Again, congratulations. We're so happy to see you make top 4, specifically number 1. As a heads up, just so you know, in case you haven't been keeping up, you actually have a buy-in to our championship series at the end of the month.
Cool. Right
So we're gonna have that info coming out later, so you'll be able to see if you're the top number 1 in all the Lancers for this Eternal.
Yeah, right on.
Okay, any last words for samsans?
No, I think I've got all my questions. Fellows Victor Zoe, bring it if you want, but don't take word for it. Is what I'm understanding.
Yeah, it's just like only play 2 decks. I think that that's probably your best bet. This is just to play Seraphine and Ornn and nothing else.
Yeah, heard you. Any last words, samsans, before we head off?
Ban Samira.
just straight out, just keep banning it. If it's that Samira, ban it. Don't care what variation. They can only bring one Samira deck. You see it? Gone. Cut it.
Get it out of here.
All right, y'all. Well,
thank you very much.
That is the end of our tournament. Thank you again, samsans. Hopefully, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, of course.
Now, Kai.
Mm-hmm.
This was a great tournament. I enjoyed myself. I love seeing how everyone played. I don't know what I'm gonna end up bringing into the open. I mean, first off, definitely Samira Seraphine. But like the other 2 decks, I've been wrestling with. I kind of want to bring Lee Sin, but I don't know if Lee Sin's gonna be good. But just to like have it and just play it and have fun with it, I'm okay. I'm okay with having fun.
If you want to bring it and have fun with it, the problem that I'd have with Lee Sin is that it loses to Rise. It loses to Broadmain.
Yeah.
It loses to Samira Seraphine if it gets through. Yeah. It's too slow for Jaxorn. It's like all of these other decks.
I would argue that. I think you can fight against Jaxorn. I played a few matches with that. It's only because you kind of do Rise things where you're just recalling things and stunning it, and like that's it. If you don't got that distraction though, you're dead.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. That.
But I mean, that's anything.
Hopefully,
you don't have
best of luck. If you're bringing Lee Sin, more power to you. Say like I was gonna say that I'm gonna play in the open. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna find Samira Seraphine in the couch cushions back there. Like that's how much Samira Seraphine we're gonna be going through this weekend. It's insane how strong that deck is, and we've seen it in this tournament. Every single matchup that we saw, we're like, wow, Jaxorn and Aphelios Victor seem like pretty decent decks. What did they ban? Oh, of course, they banned the Plaza Guardians deck because Plaza Guardians is just ridiculously good. It does its combo so consistently. If you
So
find just
consistently.
like half of the combo, the rest of it just falls into place
Mhm.
so extremely well and so efficiently. So I think it's good advice from samsans. And I'm glad that we had this tournament leading up into the days before the Open, because now that just confirms everything even
Yeah.
further in a competitive format.
Yeah, that's it.
This deck
It
is
confirms
ridiculous.
it.
It's not just a ladder deck. It is crushing tournaments too. So here we are.
True. I mean, it's Thursday. I don't think we're getting a nerf for it. It's gonna be at peak when this Open occurs. Timelines got hit. They shot that one. They're like, yeah, no, y'all having a little too much fun with this. I just got think revert that real quick. We're done. We let you have your moment. But Samira Seraphi, I don't know. Seems like it has a little bit of a fan favorite by Riot. But anywho, congrats everyone for everyone who played in the tournament. Thank you again so much. Tell your friends, bring them in. I want to see all you guys play. All of you guys are wonderful, and I can't wait to see y'all get into the Open. Top 64, top 32. We're gonna just see who it is. Catch you next time. It's the IDCxElite signing out.
I'm SojournerKai. Thanks for coming by.